Morning, Wings.
Good morning, friend. How have you been?
I'm doing okay. And that would never happen on my side, Love My Wings. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Absolutely 100. I just wanted you to be aware. Gypsy explained everything to me and that it wasn't as dire as what I thought it was. So sorry for the reaction. I'm a chick
No,
though.
it's fine. It's okay. And yo, hey, and there's a lot of things going on here that I can't explain. A lot of it, and maybe I'm not supposed to understand. So you know what? Just let's just pick up the pieces and move on.
100, my friend. I'm just excited to be here today. I have today off, so I've been kind of sitting here waiting for you to start your space because I can listen to you live finally.
Well, there you go. And hey, if you don't have time to do co-host today, it's fine too. If you got time, you want to hang out, it's all yours. You can just drop down anytime you need to.
I'm in it to win it, my friend.
Amen, sister. How you doing, Mama? How you doing, Tin? Tin, how you doing?
I'm doing good this morning, Marlon. It's just tired. I think there's something in the air this week because even though there's a lot of stuff going on here, I've been dealing with a lot of stuff outside of here, at my workplace. I got, I don't know how the best way to explain it, but I got into, a situation with a coworker where basically I had to tell a coworker off because she came at me very condescending like and was trying to gaslit me over a situation with a customer. And it's gotten so serious, dude, that I'm having to document everything and record interactions with her just to keep myself safe. And so, yeah, there's something in the air this week that's going on. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for the weekend. Like, I'm just ready for the weekend to chill out and go hide.
Well, it's only Thursday.
2 more days, just 2 more days.
Tin, it's there's something in the air. Remember, we're on a new moon. That has a lot to do with it. The way people react, and you hear the what do they call that? I can't come up with the word. Uh, Kind of like the Jersey Devil. It's man, I can't come up with the word.
Yo,
Yeah, I hear
Marlon,
you.
can you resend that co-host thing? If for some reason it gave it to me and then it turned it away.
All right, no problem. Yeah, let me bounce. Urban Legend. Sorry, Tin.
No, I hear you. And morning, everyone, and hope everyone's doing good.
Good morning, Tin. Good morning, Truth.
Good morning.
Just give me 1 second. I need to reset it here and be right back to it.
And I did not know it was a new moon, but that explains a whole lot of what's been going on around in my community too, Tinfoil.
Oh, wow, it's been crazy over there, too. I think I missed that part of the conversation. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. We had I think they're saying that Michigan had 8 tornadoes in these last storms the day before last. So and a couple of them hit in the small towns around us. So I have a lot of friends that are cleaning up messes.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm glad they're okay, though.
Yeah, as far as I know, nobody was hurt. Just, trees on cars, roofs being blown off, like that kind of mess.
Well, I know today they have a forecast for generally the same area, but it looks like tomorrow is more of the threat, and it moves to the east a little bit. It looks like so. Eastern Tennessee and West Virginia, the backside of that, I think they're forecast is, severe tomorrow. Man, did you see all the hail? The hail reports? Pretty crazy.
Well, and for those of you that, know Michigan, Traverse City is basically underwater right now. The Boardman River that cuts through there is flown over. I mean, it's just there's flooding all over the place here. And yay, we get more rain.
Yeah, same areas all the time. I could see it. Snow melt and everything else. I would say those rivers are going to be at a capacity pretty quick.
We're all praying that the Sheboygan Dam does not break down, because that's going to be a whole big town. It's going to be bad.
So I guess we'll keep an eye on the weather. And Tin, I appreciate you kind of throwing that at us. And we should have our alerts up, our antennas up. There is definitely the eastern side. Sounds like it's going to hit the eastern seaboard like Sunday. It sounds just like rain. So we'll see, but definitely keep your ears tuned, I would say. I know today we're going to have Casey from ARA step in and talk to us about where that project's at. What kind of hurdles that she's running up against, and it'll be good to get that kind of out there. Let everybody kind of know what's going on. And that food sovereignty, that's been a big subject for a long time, and we need to pay attention to what's going on. Again, I know it's not the sexiest talk, but it is something. It's crippling to America if we let this go. We're watching the news. We're watching these cattle ranchers, like Truth said yesterday. They're buying out, man. They're cashing their chips in. They can get debt free, and these big conglomerates are going to come over and take over these ranches and farms, and it's happening every day. I think we just need to be conscious of what's going on. So I'm sure she'll be in here a little bit later. The Average View crew, that comes out today. We did some last minute adjustments, and we'll be able to kind of give everybody our little sample of our illustration that's coming out every month. So I'm excited. It's good stuff. There'll be some stories in there that you recognize from people right in our own community here, and we got some other people that are stepping up for this month coming. We have an independent pharmacist that's going to do a story in the Average View, and really putting out what that medical system is really all about. Especially from a pharmacist end, I think it'll be quite interesting. But these things are not easy, right? I wish I wish it was a lot easier, but it's not always easy, right? There's a lot of logistics that goes behind something like this, and thank you for all your patience and the people that have added in and gave us a hand here. And real quick before I go much further, Tinfoil, I want to tip my hat to you, because I hear grumblings in the background that you're really helping out this project and helping out in a big way, Tin. So I don't want you to think it goes unnoticed.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and like I told Truth, I really do believe in the project, because that's our food source, and if we don't have food to eat, we're in big trouble. There will not be much fighting for anything, because you can't really fight on an empty stomach. And that was the first rule taught us in search and rescue: is you can't help other people unless you help yourself. So no, I definitely believe in it. So any way I can help, I'm there.
Well, that's what it's all about. Just a little uplifting of people coming together. It's good stuff, man. Looking forward to next month, and now that we kind of got the procedures down, and we can have people express their own voices, and that's what it's about. So we'll see. We got a lot of work to do. A lot of things behind the scenes to make that thing go. So, and it's been a collection of everybody in the community. So thank you all. we'll see. We'll get it out here later today. And but anywho, I know I kind of had my head in the sand yesterday. I know I heard some people talking about the meme that's out there with Trump acting as the Pope, and it was supposed to be a joke. And there's a lot of people that are pissed off about that. I think their PR program isn't doing the best job. I don't know exactly who's advising that man. So I think I think maybe some of that rhetoric should change. I don't know. It just feels like he's poking the bear. I don't know. Now, he is the ultimate troll. I can't take it away from him. But yes, lots of things going on. Lots of things. So, it is Thursday, April 16th. Man, just another day to wake up. It's a bright day. It's a good day. It's a good day to be in America.
Well, say it's 2026, so in case people years from now listen, Miss Casey should be in here soon. I just talked to her, so that's where I was at.
Good, perfect. And hey, there's another person that is stepping out, trying to do something, and hey, how the community can help when she hits hurdles. When you're doing small business ventures and you're stepping outside the box, there's a lot of things that people don't see, right? The struggles, the legal, standard operating procedures, trying to get this down on paper. It's not easy, man. That's why everybody doesn't do it. That's why, everybody isn't in business.
Yeah, the unfortunate reality is most people are lazy. Most people just want to work for others. Very few people actually take that step and become an entrepreneur and just go for it. And that's conditioning, the unfortunate conditioning and miseducation or programming of our, modern day school and their agenda, right? You can look deep into it, but regardless, when somebody does something and has the courage to, take a new venture, that especially if it's something that's trying to benefit the rest of us, then we take action. We get behind it. A lot of people, it's just talk. Talk is cheap. Oh, you liked and reposted something. Wow, thanks. Just like do it. It's so high. I feel her pain. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life, and I know you too, Marlon. It's not easy, but I couldn't see any other way of doing it. You know what I mean?
I failed more times than I'm successful. I can tell you that. The marks are heavy on the left side on the losing.
Well, behind any entrepreneur, they've failed more than they succeeded. That's a fact. I mean, look at Trump himself. There you go. But Miss Casey came up here, by the way.
Well, let's say hello to Jeannie, and then we'll definitely say hello to Casey, and you're on our mind. So, okay, Jeannie, how you doing? Welcome in. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Yay. It's a beautiful day, no rain. Clouds are blue, so I'm hoping that it stays dry. The truth is absolutely 100% correct. And it's on these spaces, there's a lot of talk, a lot of grumbling, a lot of hoo-ha, and there's MAGA versus Marjorie Taylor Greene and the Pope and it's just a waste of time. And I think that the question of being an entrepreneur, starting a business, it ain't easy. It is not pretty. It is a ton of work. No one's going to help you. Don't ask anyone for help because they're not going to come to your rescue. You are on your own. But that experience is critical because those are the people that are the can do. Jump to action, move. And I quite frankly, I want to be surrounded by those types of people. I don't want anyone around me that does not have that drive. Because it's just such a drag and a waste of time, and then you start to doubt, and then it gets crazy. Um, so that's all I wanted to say. Good morning.
Well, good morning. And definitely truth. Hey, fix that title up and put the ARA Go Beef in there, and let's get Casey's story out there. And I just want her to know that there's other entrepreneurs that have dealt with the same thing, same hurdles. These are growing pains. That's why it's not easy to start your own gig, and you really got to step out.
Well, Marlon, I mean, just to kind of verify here, yeah, she's been an entrepreneur. She's owned businesses and whatnot. But what she's doing now, it's a little different. It's out of like sheer frustration and necessity. Like, why is this so messed up? Why aren't we changing it? It's not like, oh, I want to go into business. She's already in business. She has a freaking ranch. She does cattle. She's doing this. But the work and effort and time that she and other ranchers across the country put into it, and they're getting screwed. And she's just got that freaking fire, and she's like, damn it, nobody's doing this. Let's do this. So that's my introduction to you, Casey. So go
Good
ahead.
morning. Good morning, Casey. So this entrepreneur, and you were on my head this morning, and hey, knowing some of the hurdles, and glad to see you this morning.
Good to see you, Marlon. Thank you guys for having me up here. For sure. Yeah, it's more of a movement than it is a business per se. I mean, it is a business, obviously. But America's losing its protein supply chain, and it's gonna be gone within the next decade. They've already taken the chicken, they've already taken the pork, and the beef is it's the last one. And they're pushing us out so fast that if we don't do something now, then we are gone in a decade. And that is all independent American ranchers. So that's what we are doing. And bringing, transparency to your food, telling you where it was raised, how, what it was fed. We don't allow antibiotics or vaccine or mRNA vaccines, hormones, all of those things, because we want clean beef for our children, because that's another issue in this country. All of our good food that we are producing here is getting shipped to other countries for more money, and then they're bringing in cheap beef because everybody here is like whining and bitching constantly. Oh, I want cheaper. So they bring us in cheap shit, and everybody's sick. So there we are, and we raise the beef right here, and it doesn't mean it has to be more expensive at all. And it's not going to be, because when you're buying farm to table, it's more expensive because one producer has to carry all the weight. They have to carry the marketing. The processors charge an astronomical amount for one producer to bring in, 4 head of steers at a time. When we work together as a team, it lowers those costs, just like the Big Four does with the beef. So we can give it to you at that cheaper price, but it's also transparent, it's clean, and it's American. And that's what we're doing. And we're doing it together, but we are right on the verge of moving, and we need help from the American people, because this isn't just for the ranchers. This is for all the American people and our kids and our grandkids. And we're being highly watched by the USDA currently. So, but we just need help. We need help. We are on the verge of this, and we have so many opportunities to, either sponsor or invest or even donate. And we also have a sheet you can print out and take to your grocery store, and basically demanding transparent American beef. So there's so many ways that you can help with this.
think about it, Casey. If you were able to go into your ShopRite or your Acme or whatever, and we saw that up there, the ARA beef. I mean, I see this on menus. I think this is a selling point that, hey, we know where this beef came from. When you roll the Burger King or even Wendy's, even the Capitol Grill, you have no idea where that beef came from. You have no clue. It could be from Brazil. It could be from Argentina, but it's marked as FDA approved, right? I mean, there's so many things that need to be transparent in that industry. And like you said, this is the last one. They've co-opted our chickens. They co-opted our pork, and this is the last stand, Casey.
Yeah, the FDA is not on your side in any way, and I mean, they're already mixing the bioengineered food into meat products and all the other, middle aisle shelf products, of course, but even into the meat products. And it's terrible because I'll walk through the grocery store and you know I raise beef, but I might want some pork. Sometimes I have some pigs out here, but most of the time I don't. I'll go and I'll walk through and I'll just look at all the shit that's in it, and I'm like, this is insanity, complete insanity. Like, I'm a total label checker. So, and it's just like I just leave with nothing at that point, you know.
Well, now it's really hard to go outside. It's hard for me to go to restaurants. It's hard for me to even buy the meat out of the Amish. Now there's things questioning that, right? Are they using chemicals to preserve those breasts? There's all kinds of things that, honest to God, it's grossed me and my wife out to the point where I can't just go out and eat anymore. I'm thinking about where that meat came from, and I have no idea. It's really put a damper on us. It saved me some money.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, as a beef producer, I'm excited that once we get beef going and we've got it completely running through the stores and we've got the whole system. you know,
Wouldn't that be something? Wow, now you can really, hey, keep control of where you're buying your meat. Wow, you know what? It does. The choices aren't all there, right? I mean, Casey, that's. And I think that people will be looking for that.
I think so. I mean, I know. And I know everybody wants this and everybody talks that they want this. They in this with me. They're also doing the same thing. And I mean, it's hard on us because we're ranchers. We don't, we're not killing it out there. At least most of us. Some of the bigger ones might be, but they're the ones that are like sit back and wait to see what happens kind of people. They already are, they're in the game already. But most of this is for the small producer, and 90% of our US producers own 50 head or less. So they can't get into the grocery stores by themselves, but together we can.
So let me ask you this, and then we can go to Cheney, Pink, Will, and Conservative. If people really knew what was going on behind the scenes, how much money they pump into political campaigns to get their narrative or their politics off the line, it's really hard to compete. When these guys go there and they offer these political figures money to enrich their past, it's really, so they've been starving for money for so long. Oh man, whatever I got to do to get money, whatever I got to do. If people understood the backroom deals and the lobbying and the bureaucracy going on behind this, they would understand. They would step up quick here.
You can answer some questions if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to team. Good morning again.
Good morning. I thank you so much. Is it Casey? Um, when I hear you talk, the first thing that pops into my mind is how do we collectively know where all of these independent ranchers with 50 heads or less are located. Because if we could advertise and distribute and get the word out and say, if you are interested in healthy meat for your child, punch your zip code in and here's the nearest rancher next to you. I mean, it really comes down to IT development and, the flyer. I thought of that when you said that you have a flyer that you can take to your grocer and put the pressure on. We all go to the grocery store, take the flyer. It's all about getting people to get off of their butts and do something. It doesn't mean you've got to, like, I don't need to fix the healthcare, but I better keep my mouth flapping about it. We just got to keep doing it until people are finally standing up and taking a notice and doing something. I get on these spaces and I see the same people. They're all talking, and I wonder, do you do anything else outside of being on spaces? Come on. It's like we should not be all on here 24/7. This is not, sorry, I didn't mean to go
Well, yeah,
molest
let's not go.
grandma on you.
No, but so what we're doing is like, so you wouldn't be going directly to those ranchers. The ranchers, we coordinate the ranchers together to put it back into the grocery stores. So because 90% of the US shops at the groceries, actually it's like 95 or 6% of the US shops at grocery. And so that's what we're doing. So you don't go directly to them. It keeps them from having to have freezers and, marketing and all those things. We actually pick up their cattle. They go to the processors that we coordinate with, which are local and regional processors throughout the United States, which have also been hit just astronomically. I mean, there was grant money that come out a few years ago and a bunch of new processing plants have been built. They're all shut down now because they can't afford it. They can't get the cattle to run through it because those four corporations that are controlling our choke points, they're taking up all of it. And half of them are foreign owned. So we have foreign owned entities owning 85% of our beef supply, which is insane. But and taking all of our grocery store shelf space. So that's what we're doing is taking our shelf space back, but doing it together as a group.
Well, I think, again, some people look at some of these platforms, you're wasting your time. But you know what? Everybody listens. It may be sound like we're shouting in the abyss, but you know what? I don't think so. Let's just keep talking about it. Put those narratives out there because there's a lot of people that are along with you for this ride and really see what's going on and understand it. I don't know that everybody outside of this app understands. They haven't seen the evolution. They haven't lived through it. We haven't been, they haven't been informed by genes this whole time. So this is why, hey, it's so easy for us to jump on it because we know. Uh, why don't we go to Tink? Hey, Tink, then we're going to Sir.
Hey, Casey, I just want to say hello, and I want to kind of heard about your frustration yesterday, and as Truth was telling us about what was going on, I remember walking to the kitchen, and I literally said out loud to myself, "Why are we finding acceptable to accept meat from other countries, where God knows what they're putting into this meat?" And what kind of substances they're putting in. And when we can have beef here grown by our own ranchers, when I can go down the road to get it. And it just, I actually kind of, it frustrated me because I was like, why are we accepting this? And I'm going to start, I wish I could donate a lot of money. I really wish I could, but I'm going to try to donate what I can when I get paid on my paycheck. And, but if anyone else can help donate, guys, even if it's just $5, and if we all start donating, guess what? That'll add up quick. And if we can get Casey over the hump to where this really takes off, I mean, that will put us in a very, very good position. And like I said earlier, being in search and rescue, the first thing we were taught is you can't help other people unless you help yourselves. And if you can't eat, you can't survive. And I rather have meat from here versus meat from other countries because, like I said, those other countries, a lot of them don't like us. And it'd be very easy to put stuff in the meat they ship over here. And it probably explains why a lot of us are getting sick. So I'd rather have American beef. So, Casey, I definitely support you and I'll try to help out any way I can.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I do. And yeah, you're right. And I mean, it is a huge national security issue what we're facing right now because I mean, if you look at 2021, it happened there. They slowed the choke point right there at the processing facilities, and our shelves were empty. And that's exactly what happens. And we have to keep the food supply chain decentralized and away from these foreign entities because they can immediately shut us down. And for most of America that doesn't raise their own food and things like that, what are they going to do? There's nothing, you know. I know there's preppers and oh, I would be good for this long or that long, but most Americans wouldn't be, and that's and it's narcissistic to not think that. And how many small children and grandchildren are out there, little kids that would be starving, and it's just the reality. It is a national security issue.
I'm just looking at back all the things that I didn't even think of it. Think about all the school lunches. I mean, the whole time growing up here, we were more worried about the convenience stuff. Right on, we just roll up to McDonald's and boom, boom, boom. That commercial out there. Yup, nope, yup, nope. I think it's Chipotle. They're trying to put something out. I never. So they have this commercial out there running where, hey, this mass produced meat into these patties that we're all consuming in these fast food joints. I mean, you have no idea where that came from. I cannot eat any of it anymore. Even Chick-fil-A. Anyway,
Marlon, have you noticed that McDonald's, first off, when's the last time they actually served beef? And you notice when they say over a billion served, over a billion, they don't say beef, right? They're not telling you beef was sold to you because most of it's soy and GMO soy. So it's nasty anyway.
oh man, I think back at like the Impossible Burger. Think about that. Burger King hung a lot on that, and then they started developing moves. Then started developing breast from the hormones inside the soy. It's crazy that we're accepting. Hey, let's go to we'll go to conservative, then we'll go to
Oh, you caught me right in the middle of something. That's okay. I'll take my time now to keep it on beef only. So I know over the last, was it 5 years or whatever, when all these additives, bioengineered stuff started coming out, I was a big advocate against it and kind of started going in and looking at labels and asking the people that packed our meat for us, especially when, like I used to shop at Safeway probably about 5 years ago. And I absolutely can't. And anybody that's affiliated with those bigger markets, so they're Save Mart, Lucky's, they're kind of all the same now. They're only owned by a couple of people. So I don't know if we can get the word out that these people are supporting the bioengineered and the meat that's not meat, because I remember Safeway having that big scandal about their meat looking green because they're adding basically like a carbon dioxide to it to keep it um, good longer. But their meat started turning green, so they had to quit doing that, I guess. But anyways, about the companies that are doing this and maybe giving us links, and because I don't have them right now. Or any of that type of information to kind of get the word out, but I would be willing to look into it if someone has looked into it to help causes like Casey's and others. And like Tinfoil said, I think I said It's yesterday, the day before that I'm willing to support. I haven't done that support monetarily yet, but I do promise to do that. And I appreciate Casey and her plight. And yeah, eat real meat, guys, please, because it's disgusting out there. So unfortunately, I know probably a lot of you in here probably still shop at Bailey's and Safeway and all these places. I only go to
Yeah, dude, we're losing you, bro. We're losing you.
You losing me?
Yeah,
Is
thanks.
that
Yeah, that's what's
is that better? Anyways, kind of if you kind of point out the other places that
Sorry about that. Finish your thought there. We're gonna age in and maybe say a little.
yeah, that's kind of it. But if we can kind of, if there's any links and stuff to kind of come up with the people that are putting out they're trying to sell us. Basically, I want to say crap. I'm not going to cuss or anything, but I think crap is about as far as I can go on Marlin Space. Please let me know if there's a link. Thank you very much for having the space.
Yeah, man. I know. We'll definitely make sure that's in the bill, and let's have a GoFundMe out there. So, and yes, if you have it inclined in your heart to kind of help out a little bit, it would be great. Maybe we can go to Agent. Agent, how you doing? Welcome up, and then we'll go to you, Florida. Farmers, hold on.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, everybody. I don't want to be the bearer of any more bad words in here about what's being destroyed on our farms. And the reason I became a biodynamic, organic, certified farmer 28 years ago. And the reason I did that is because I suffered a near death experience uh, when I had a severe stroke that almost killed me and is still affecting me today, believe it or not. But it made me realize all the garbage that was being spread around. Like, they say grass fed beef. Well, you know what? You guys ever heard of glyphosate? Have you ever heard of Roundup Ready? Roundup Ready alfalfa, Roundup Ready corn. Well, guess what that is? And that's silage. And that is what we feed our milk cattle and our cows, grass fed. So is really grass fed beef the answer? Is what I'm saying here. Hell no, it's not. We've got to return back to Mother Nature like the Amish do. You have to let the grounds go fallow. For like in the Bible, you let the grounds go fallow for 3 years and rotate your animals to various crops. I go along with Joel Salatin, who is like called the lunatic farmer now. But I followed Joel he's now a czar. He's actually a czar for Maha with JFK Kennedy, right? So anyway, I'm a lunatic farmer just like Joel Salatin. And I believe that it's time for all of us ranchers and farmers to to take a few steps back and change the way that we have run our farms for many generations because it's a bad model now that they have all these chemicals and poisons available. We need to stop. We got to stop plowing and grinding the earth. Look at what's happening when there's a simple rainstorm. There's flooding. There's all kinds of disaster happening all over. And why? Because us farmers are plowing all of the way for the water to be retained. It just turns into a big mud puddle and then floods down, because shit rolls downhill, right?
Well, okay, the way
And
Way,
my mission,
the way I look at it,
what?
yeah, finish your thought there, Thor.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear very well over this telephone. Uh, I'm actually in a hyperbaric chamber right now, oxygen chamber that I'm going in every single day right now. Uh, and it has affected my hearing. So I apologize for that. I have to literally, I practically scream and, I really have trouble hearing these little speakers on my iPhone.
I'm sorry about that. Sorry about the struggles you're going through. And listen, hey, we understand the problem. That's why we're in here talking about it. No-till farming. That's been a good concept. I mean, regenerational farming. There's a lot of aspects to this thing that we've been listening to all this evidence, agent. So hey, I appreciate you coming up.
Oh yeah, hey, thank you. Yeah, regenerative farming is huge. You know that I actually I am a uh I told you that I'm a market gardener as well. I do 7 townships with 100-mile radius. I go to the farmers markets and I offer my lamb and my beef and my chicken and all that at the farmers market, even though I don't have USDA approval. So they buy it from me at the farmers markets on the down low. They come over to my property to pick it up, or they pick it up. They pick it up from the butcher. There's a loophole for everything, right, guys?
Oh yeah. Well, hey, at least we're up here talking about the situation. Hey, how we can join in as Americans to realize what's going on with our sovereignty here. We've been missing this mark. We've had our head in the sand. We've been asking for the convenience, but unfortunately now they've coerced. Right now, all of your fast food, anything made in a bottle or a box, has some kind of poison in it. So I think there's a lot of maha going on, as Apothecaro would say, and I believe that some Americans are starting to understand what's going on. That's a crazy statistic, though. 96% of Americans actually shop in a shopping market. Only 4% actually grow their own food. I mean, that's crazy talk. We need to change that ratio a bit. Have people more concerned about, how they can take advantage of even just small spots in gardening. I obviously everybody in America can't have chickens and cows and pigs to produce their own, but now if we knew where it was coming from, when you realize that the next time you go into Chick-fil-A, you have no idea where that chicken breast came from. I think there needs to be some kind of traceability that I think Casey's putting out there. That's why it's great notice, a great project to be involved with. So that's why we're in here talking about it. So Casey, again, thank you for stepping up. You know, I think maybe now I think maybe we can
It's
turn our focus and start. Hold on, agent. I think maybe we can turn our focus and start leaning on these people politically and positioning them to the point whether they're Republicans, Democrats, or Independents, they have to realize what's going on. So, hey, when they start getting the magazine that's got ARA's story in it for next month, they're going to realize, Americans done with it. Agent, did you want to have a quick last thought? Then we're going to love my one. Go ahead, Wing.
So Marlon, I decided I Rain Man for a minute, and if I put down below in the bubble, if each of us in this space could commit to $20 a week to help Casey and her program get up and running, that by the end of 1 year, we will have donated $66,000 to help her get everything up and running. and it's $20 a week. Some people can't afford to do anything. Some people could afford to do 100. I just went with an easy number. So I just wanted to point that out, that, we all, even as little people on it, fixed incomes or just outside of a fixed income, there is things that we can do to help her that's not just sharing spaces. I just wanted to point that out.
If we thought of ways that we could reconstruct the way some of these political figures are funded, well, then guess what? They wouldn't have to look over their shoulder. They wouldn't have to worry about the big four coming in manipulating the situation with money. But that's what happens. There's a total deal behind the scenes. Those four packers have been contributing to political campaigns for their entire existence. Obviously, those political figures are going to go in their favor. They're not out here to fight for us. They're there to fight for the biggest money that comes into their. And unfortunately, we took that assumption and we've given them that power to craft legislation that's really working against us now. You heard it. The FDA. The FDA is not there to help us and protect. It's the same assumption that, hey, the Department of Interior is there to safeguard from foreign investment coming into our croplands and buying land, CCP owned, letting them come in and purchase those packing companies for poultry and pork. This is where it's at. Unfortunately, we're a little late to the game. You know what? I'm sorry, Casey. You know what? We're about 4 or 5 years late. How far along would you be if people realized what was going on? And you guys shop up. I'm not saying you guys, but think about the stores that you're buying in. Target, Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight is CCP owned. Like that, we go into this store and we go, oh man, they got a generator that's for the American made. Man, it's a problem.
Well, I'll tell you, Marlon, we've been looking at distributors and talking to distributors to get it out, a little bit easier logistical wise. And we talked about this together in a meeting. But I just found out that Cisco basically um, just turned into a monopoly and is now owned by BlackRock. And so we're staying away from Cisco completely. Don't want any part of that. So we're trying to find some of the smaller distributors. But yeah, crazy.
Let's get that as an example, Stacey, right? They're able to produce a pork loin for $42, probably about a 5 or 6 pound pork loin that they wrap together, whatever they're selling it. Think about Cisco. They don't care where the pork's coming from. We do. We don't have any answer in that. Why are we able to digest that answer that they've made us, right? So if we don't stand up for the beef thing, if you don't stand up for some kind of food sovereignty, where are we going to be in 5 years? If those American ranchers are gone tomorrow, where do we stand? You mean we're gonna rely on a state-owned company? What do you think they could throw this country into a swizzle if they held some of the chicken and pork production? How easy would that be?
Ridiculously easy. Like they could do it today. I mean, without a problem, and we'd all be screwed. Like that's how bad it is. Like it doesn't matter. One plant shutting down disrupts an entire supply chain, or even just slowing down production. And that's also why you're seeing a lot of the prices as high as they are right now. It's because they've done it before, and they slow plants or they shut them down. They don't close them forever. They shut them down to make money, and then they open them back up.
You could throttle that. Throttle the amount of beef, pork, chicken coming through your tentacles. Well, then you supply and demand at that point. It's a legit. Right now, hey, they're probably making more money now than they ever have in the past.
They are, yeah. Yeah, their margins, their returns are higher than ever. And, they're throwing out all this media that, oh, lowest cattle shortage, da 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 da. Nah. Uh-uh. Nope. It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Well, you know what? If we don't start thinking about it and realize it's bullshit that we all been digesting for the last 40 or 50 years, well, we better do something about it. That's why we're here today. And when the political figures know that they're not going to be able to get away from answering, that's where the key is, right? We need to position these people into making the force them come in and make them answer. And then they realize you attacked two of the most major things that a politician worries about: it's vote and money. And if we can position these people, no matter whether they're blue, purple, it doesn't matter. We position them and we learn how to do it, and especially with so Casey, we're on a new mission here. We need to politically put these people in a corner, and the SBA is the next one on my list.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what is even more ridiculous is that lobbying money. They sold us out for $10 million. You know, the big four paid the campaigns $10 million, and that's all they've been paying annually. I think it was like 8,000 the year before, but $10,000 they completely sold out the ranchers, and that's nothing. Like the big four, they make that in a week. Like that's insane.
I don't think they realize how much money is behind it. But listen, you know, you got billion-dollar industries coming out against what we're talking about, right? And I guarantee you that they're in here listening. You know, when they realize that they're not going to be able to get away from the answer, and when four factors are really put on the front lines here, then they're going to realize that they have to answer to the American people. And guess what, Casey? If you have the American people behind you, well, sounds like your vote just went up. Simple, you want to add something and we're going to fed up?
Yeah. Now I want to be straight up forward. I I don't get paid very much when I work for IT, but I will say this for the people that say that, you know, but beef is so expensive and we get it here. Here's another way to kind of look at it too. If you're going to, like, say Walmart, for example, and you're looking at a car battery, and you have two choices. You have a car battery from China made by the CCP that has a 50-50 chance of catching fire spontaneously. And you have a battery that's made in America that you know it's safe, but you have to pay just a little bit more to get it. Which one you're most likely to go with? Now just look at food. You have meat coming from out of country, 50-50 chance it could be dangerous, or meat that you know is grown here, that it's healthy and safe. Which one do you want to go with? And the thing is, to also remember, the stuff that you ingest that you take internally will do more damage than something externally. So I'll be honest, I'd rather pay for a little bit more higher price based beef that's grown here than take my chance of the one coming from the other country. And I know I keep harping on it, but I'm trying to drive the point home. It's like, this is where we're at the moment. Because those corporations, they don't care about us. They know, the CEOs know where they get their meat, and they're getting their meat that's safe, while we're getting the the ones from the outside of the country, and left with a choice of, well, left with no choice of having to accept that. And I'm to the point I'm refusing to accept it anymore.
But here's the biggest point. The biggest point is this can be produced for a complex number. When you take in the fact of when you take in the fact, number one, those producers are making more money than they ever made in the past. Think about the tariffs that are on top of the meat coming in here from Argentina and Brazil and Mexico. If you could produce the meat, even maybe at a lesser number, it's the same kind of thing. We talked about it when the tariff came out. Everybody, oh my God, this is going to drive prices up. No, if you're buying inside of America, it's not going to drive it up. It's the same thing as the North Carolina furniture industry. You know, where it got down to is they were just taking the lumber, shipping it to China. They were producing the vanities and putting them back here and selling. Now, let me tell you, there has to be room in there for profit. If that North Carolina middle understood that Americans would buy the vanity coming out of North Carolina much quicker than they're going to buy the vanity that's made by North Carolina wood, but it's made by China. So if the numbers are comparable, what's the excuse?
Yeah. Oh, go.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm agreeing with Marlon there. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Casey.
No, and like he was saying, yeah, that's our goal, is making it comparable and even less expensive, and we can do that, and that's part of our what we're doing is with the decentralization, because like our logistics, we're keeping things regional. At least we're working our way to regional right now. Everybody's kind of spread out, so we're basically doing as much as we can as regionally as we can, and it'll, as it grows, it will become more condensed and more regional. And just with the logistics of that, shrinks the price so much on that beef. I mean, it's an astronomical amount that takes away. And even the big four right now, like they're taking cattle, say from uh, Georgia, and shipping it all the way out to California to those feedlots or those plants. And it's crazy. Like they're going all the way across the country. We could, even have cattle in Florida and take them right to Georgia and process them. And, it's that's a huge part of the decentralization is we can make that work. And then we're also being, very transparent on pricing on what we're doing. Like we make, small margins on the end. They go back to the actual ranchers, which is awesome. But we're doing what we can to make the price what it actually should be. And not the big four making a bunch of margins to, give to their corporate shareholders.
Kate, totally. We're going to use set up and then Terry. If you think about it on how long they've been manipulating the market, you pull back and start raising the prices on beef in import, which we've all experienced. You don't think those four major packers are colluding behind the scenes? This is totally illegal in America, but there's no enforcement there.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
same thing. It's the same thing as sheet rock manufacturing. If you have four companies that are all working together and all the board goes up at the same time, well, then there's collusion behind the scenes. That's the end of the story. I don't know why the enforcement of that. See, that's the problem. When you look at all the problems we talk about in here, it's really not the rules that are there in enforcement. And do you want to add something with a
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, put up. How you doing? Welcome up, and then we're gonna.
Yeah, well, and it is. It's I mean, I obviously saw the thing with the North Carolina furniture industry. We lost several plants in my town because of it. One time, I think we were at 13-14% unemployment because of it, and we weren't the worst county in my region. So, because they all either died or contracted. Even the couple that stayed open still had to, downsize. And now after all these years, we've got one plant kind of sort of still open, an Ethan Allen plant. And and it's the same thing like you said with the food. You've got to do the combination of the messaging out there, which I think is going to get more with the longer Kennedys in there and working with some of these people. The FDA is just such an absolute, crap show up there. When you see how they were set up, and the fact that they're testing. I mean, when you had during the campaign, when Kennedy came out and said that over half of their money came from outside the government, from the companies they're supposed to be oversighting, and the FDA came out and their defense was, well, no, he's lying. It's only 47%. So you felt so emboldened that 47% of your budget is coming from the people you're supposed to be oversight of. And that's okay, according to you. That was a great gotcha on Kennedy saying it was over 50. And it's because they pay for their own testing. That's the thing a lot of people don't realize. This independent testing that the FDA has them do isn't independent. It's third party. Like if Kellogg is getting a new cereal tested, it's not an employee at Kellogg, but you know, that's what one of the things we need to fix is this testing system and get rid of that.
I think there's a lot of other things there. The testing, the political pressure, influence of money. Of course, it's going to the report. Okay, Terry, how you doing? Welcome up.
Hey, good morning, Marlon, Truth, and Love, and good morning to you, Casey. And I appreciate what you're doing with your project there, what you're trying to get off the ground. What I wanted to say, a couple things. It's a matter of national security that we keep our beef. We did lose pork. In 2013, they were purchased by a Chinese group, a company called, I believe it was called Smithfield Foods, which owns brands like Eckridge, Farmland, Nathan's Famous, and Armor. And with that purchase also comes all the land where they produce that pork. So we can't lose our beef. We can't lose it to the Chinese. We need to know that we're eating good U.S. beef. So, Casey, my question to you is this. Bobby Kennedy, who's the head of HHS, he eats very healthy. He eats a lot of beef. Is there any way Bobby could help you in the sense of could he open doors for what you're trying to do is what I'm trying to ask you.
Yeah, I'm sure he could. We had some contact with Maha back in January. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm back. I had a phone call coming. But yeah, they reached out to us back in January. I guess whatever the project was didn't take off. I don't know. But yeah, he definitely would. And then now I'm kind of in contacts with, or I am in contacts with Brooke Rollins. So we're trying to get some of that figured out. And I've had some people tell me that are in that circle that they are looking at us as soon as we get off the ground and going, which is like right over this last pump here, that for schools and militaries and federal buildings and those things, which would help dramatically. Like those contracts alone would just be so helpful to the alliance. It would, obviously, for obvious reasons. That's a lot of beef and that's a lot of cattle that we could push through.
Right. Because I would think that Bob Kennedy would be very receptive.
Oh yeah.
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 Especially the fact that if you can check by the QR code of that beef and you can tell exactly where it came from, which ranch produced it. We don't get that right now when we go to the grocery store. I have no idea what I'm eating when I go to the
All you've got is product of the USA, which means jack shit.
And I'll end by saying I have eating that JS, as you just called it, and then I've eaten locally grown, grass-fed, non-steroid beef, and there is no comparison. I'm talking about the taste and being able to cut it. It's not as gristly. It's just so much better. At any rate, I just wanted to ask you, Casey, if you'd had any contact with Bobby Kennedy and his group.
Oh yeah, a little bit. I wish I could get more in there, and it's hard to get to them. It really is. And yeah, and to your point, like, I mean, I grew up on a farm, but even still, like today's food just doesn't taste like it did when we were younger. It's totally different. It's completely different. It's like a whole different kind of food. I don't know, meat, whatever, but it's not right. But unless you buy it, and it's coming from an actual ranch. Like it doesn't taste right. And that's what needs to be brought back as the food we had when we were kids, that our kids can eat and our kids aren't having issues, hormone issues, and all these things from the crap they're putting into the food and hormones and everything else. Like it's insane that 50% of young men are have less testosterone than their 80-year-old grandfathers. I mean, it's insane. I talked to a doctor the other day, and she said that most of the young men that she is seeing, have a testosterone level at 150, and that's insane. That's absolutely crazy.
Just so we all know, the 250 is low and 900 is the high spectrum for a normal male. Okay. So if it's at 150, that is below low, way below low.
You
Oh
know,
yeah.
the difference for me, Casey, is when we started buying the grass fed meat out of our butcher. Now, the Bringhurst Butcher in Atlanta area has been there since I've been a kid, right? So that was about the only meat producer that I really actually kind of trusted. But now when I realize that even the grass fed is not what you assume, right? Some of these are still doing this. You're thinking, hey, this cow is out there, strolling around, loving life, and his meat's going to taste better. But when they're still putting this grass-fed stamp on it, it's not truly out there free ranging, right? These cows are still enclosed. They are fed this particular stuff and finished with grass-fed. So there's a lot of classification problems there that even just like we're talking about the labeling and there has to be some kind of definition there for me to now understand, because even that particular butcher, I have no idea where that cow comes. It may sound, oh yeah, it's grass fed and they're charging me more money, but I have no idea at the end of the day.
No, it's just a marketing ploy, to be honest. It just is, especially when you're buying it from the grocery store and they're charging you this astronomical amount of money for that package. It's just a marketing ploy. It really is.
Yeah. If people don't believe us when you look at the stamp that they're giving the product of the USA, go look it up on the trademark website. You'll blow your mind. It's all it's basically like the Wizard of Oz, the guy behind the curtain. It's all fabricated bullshit that doesn't mean anything. So they can say, well, product of the USA. Okay, well, what does that mean? So was it produced? Was it just formed here? Was the last part of it here? They're even trying to call beef USA beef that did not come from this country, was born in another country, raised in another country. They brought it here for the last thing and gave it a little bit of grass and product of the USA. That's how it works.
Well, go ahead, Wing.
I just really quick want to do a little bit of housework. Hey everybody, so we've got 50 to 100 people in this space. If we could all help Marlon out and Casey by getting this information out and reposting this space, all of us working together can make big impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Wing. And hey, I appreciate that, because hey, it is the little voice, right? The voices do come collectively. So once you show examples, you kind of lead people to the right way. This is what I feel. Hey, I know that Casey's working hard in the background. Ever since I heard about this project, I knew from the understanding what Dee Dee taught us all those years, this is the right move. If I didn't stand by, if I didn't believe in this 110%, I wouldn't be doing it. When people actually taste the difference, like Casey, what would be a really good test is to take a seamless eye roast out of Walmart and obtain a seamless eye roast from the ARA standards. When you taste the difference, it will look, it looks different. It's not the same.
Yeah, it definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely looks different. And I'm actually, so with our beef, what we're also doing is we're testing that beef for any residues, because, you know, it, we can say, no hormones, no antibiotics, no glyphosate. We're not ever at every range all the time and all those things. we set a standard, but we're proving it. So we're taking another step and proving it. But what I've talked with the lab about is actually going to the grocery store and getting some of uh, the beef from the grocery store and sending it in for the lab testing that we're doing, and then taking some from our different ranchers and doing the same, and then doing it on social media to show everybody, like, hey, look what's in this beef, because there's all kinds of nasty junk in that beef that you're getting. I mean, there's bacteria, there's all kinds of different bacterias in there that are disgusting, just from the multiple handling of that meat through their chain versus what ours is doing, going direct and close. And then also, like, their hamburger, you've got 300 to 1,000 head of cattle into 1 pound of hamburger all matched together, which is so gross. And with ours, it's from one cow. It's from one cow. You know,
Pretty easy, right? Easy to make mind here. Once they realizing what they're eating, what they're digesting, and then look at the piece of it and hang it, and then hey, you have this other doing. Now, where do they keep it? I'm telling you, just to look. You go buy something out of Walmart, go hold it up. Two different meats, two different. Rita, how you doing?
Good morning, Marlon, everybody. I'm glad you're doing this space. I started buying my meat from a local rancher last year. And every now and again, the budget says, we got to buy something at the store. And when you buy store-bought food after cleaning up your diet, you suffer like a food hangover. It's worse than an alcohol hangover. You feel like crap for several days because it is not the same. And I will take it a little further. Gorton's, that's a big brand name, right? Their breaded fish sticks say on there proudly, I mean, it says made in the USA, but if you read that little American flag sticker, those fish were not brought from the USA. It was proudly breaded in the USA. Big difference. Marketing and consumerism is killing us as a society. And I'll land my plane there.
I would agree. Look, when people really start paying attention to what they're eating, maybe we'll understand the difference, right? When you go into your local shopping mart or food store, whatever you want to call it, go look at the. Uh, I want you to go in there and I want you to look at all the tags that are on fish, shrimp, even to the tuna. They're farm raised. It says farm raised right on there. You know that the mercury content out of those farm raised fish is 10 times higher than any kind of wild caught. You realize that they're feeding these shrimp, fish, all these hormones to make them grow faster. It affects the taste of them. It's not even close to the wild caught. So you have to be careful of what you're buying in these stores. I would only eat a wild caught, and now I can't even really trust. I don't even know when I go into this job market whether or not it's true or not. Who's to say? Where is the governing body behind this? Or are there inspectors back there asking what's farm raised and what's wild caught?
Can I interject one more thing here? Like,
Sure.
somebody was speaking about the grass-fed beef, and there's a video somewhere. Maybe I can find it later, but it shows.
And I just want to add real quick.
Love,
I've noticed.
Wait.
Someone was talking, and you might not hear him, love. So
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
The grass-fed beef.
Go right.
They lock those animals up, and then they have this machine that just dumps grass on the floor. They're not out in the pasture grazing grass. They're being fed grass that was picked for them, and who knows where that grass came from. So I mean, grass fed is so misleading, so misleading.
It is absolutely. Actually, the girl that I've become friends with and have a relationship, she has a store in Cumberland County. It's called Hidden Creek. And he, has some producers that help her out in the wintertime, but everything that she produces between April and November is hers. It comes from her farm, her chickens, her pigs, her cows, right? And we have become friends with this girl because hey, we see what's going on. I've talked with her in the ARA, and I trust her. And now we're understanding. We're going out there with our pocketbook, Reba, like you said. Going out there. Oh man, I can't really afford it this month. I have to cut corners somewhere, and I try to look for other producers that have grants ahead, right? Well, look at what standards are for that cow that can be grass fed or pasture raised, right? Country biscuits down there, she's right. These are all catch raised that we're all captured with it. Now there is a movement towards it. This food sovereignty, asking whether there is a movement here. But again, I think it's being reclassified and marketed to you. This is something that you have all in your imagination that this cow's out there free grazing. Hey, this cow's going to, it's just not the case. These cows are being just, like you said, they're not actually raised on grass, they're actually just finished grass. So again, that's everything that we learn, listening and watching the evolution of the problem and understanding what eating has been doing the entire time. The labeling, the tagging, the LP, everything has worked this way to this point. And just, very involved in what's going on with safety and understanding. And, us, their community, we've learned. Now we understand. Now we understand what questions to ask, what to look for, and how we're going to get great solutions to this problem, this food sovereignty. Hey, before we go to you, Texas, let's go to Love My Wings. I'm sorry, Love My Wings. Go ahead. Why don't you jump in there and then we're going
I just wanted to say real quick, I have noticed that when I buy, from a local rancher, that the amount of meat that I eat is the same, but I feel fuller longer, if that makes sense. Like, you know how you eat Chinese and an hour and a half later you're hungry looking to snack for something? It was the same way when I was eating store-bought meat, and now I don't have that. Now I'm full. So there are so many differences, so many tangibles that
the vaccine they suggest is lasting longer. Wow. Yeah. I've heard this before. We've talked about that before, but now, you're exactly right. Eating Chinese, that looks built with meat and vegetables and is right there in. And I'm hungry in 2 hours. And you know what? I'm really going to pay attention because we're eating cattle. We're eating beef that came out of this girl's store. You know, there's I'm going to have to keep an eye on that now because I understand exactly what you're saying, and now I just got to look at it. Huh? That's really cool. Fasting for your body with better protein. Texas, yes, man. I can go off.
Marlon is ARA is her name Casey. Okay. See, glad to meet you. I sent you a follow. I am a trucker. Um, I'm not going to go into that. That's not much beef out of right when it comes out of Mexico and then it gets USDA inspected on the American side and it's boxed in American beef boxes. I've seen it time and time again. It's a common everyday occurrence. So people don't understand or know what they're getting in this meat. But there's another side, and I'm going to put this out there. I'm not rich. And in my wife's words, I would love to be able to go to a rancher and I can. I actually reached out to some locals down here. Now the average cow after slaughtering in the state of Texas is anywhere from 400 to 500 pounds after it's been this. So we'll go with the median 100 down brisket. I don't can't break that all down, but I know there's a big portion of it that's going to go into hamburger meat from trimmings and different cuts of meat that's not select. I do all my own. That's my own meat. I'm a hunter. I'm a fisherman. I've done cows and bulls and all my life. The problem again is I approach these local ranchers down here and I'm talking about buying a cow. You know, one they want $6,500. You know, okay. Well, if you do the breakdown at 450 pounds, it's $14.40 a pound. Afford that. I would love to feed my family that, but we can't afford it. Well, there's a problem.
Yeah, that's pretty high. Is that with processing? Or is
Yes,
that
ma'am. They raise the cow and they say it's pasture. Right. The grain's coming from. You don't know if you're using GMO grain, but I mean, money and save.
those USDA processors, the ones that are left that are USDA, they are price gouging the shit out of small ranchers. You know, it's about $4 to $5 per pound of finished product just for that processing alone. And that's why, like with the Alliance, because we have so many and we're securing so much shackle space, we're getting it down to, you know, $1 or less, you know, per pound. So it helps a lot. That helps just
Maybe I need to get you in contact with all the ranchers down here. I live in Northeast Texas, in between Dallas and Tyler. There's a lot of big cattle ranchers down here that are doing this. Um, uh, but like I said, I simply put, I can't afford that kind of price for hamburger meat, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can understand that 100%. So expensive or like such a premium price product. I mean, that's obviously why, but it's not. It's going to be comparable or less, you know, to the stuff, the crap that Big Four's bringing in. It's just crazy. Like it's the solution. It is the solution, and we've got some of the biggest, you know, minds in agriculture behind this, and like really, and they're for it. They're like, holy cow, you know, this is it.
Well, I want to make a friendly reminder. So we have Miss Casey in here. We talked about her yesterday. We talked about the whole movement. We've put the website up on the top. We've got some posts and whatnot. Please, while you're sitting here listening, okay, go to the website, goarabeef.org. There's a bunch of ways you can help. If you can help financially, that's awesome because she needs it. She has put all of her own money into everything that's gone so far. And if you knew the amount of money spent on the attorneys alone, because again, she's got to fight off all these bullshit regulations and all this kind of stuff. Otherwise, they're going to shut her down immediately. So when you go to the website, there's a support the movement drop down thing right on the top. You can go like use GoFundMe if you're comfortable with that, or you can go directly to her through a Stripe payment. Or if you really want to step it up, you can go to the sponsor us tab. And depending on what you donate there, you get a lot of stuff. The first level by making a donation, you get 8 to 12 pounds a box of beef every month for a year. It's pretty awesome. That if you can help financially, if you can't, that's fine. The spreading the word, tagging in President Trump, Kennedy, all that stuff. We have a new little button there on the home page which says take action now, and you download a PDF. You take that PDF to your local grocery store and you start demanding, look, can you prove this stuff to me? Where does this meat come from? And just get in their face about it and make them aware. And then there's a part of that PDF that you can give to the grocer so they know that Casey, the ARA, all of us exist. And I would ask that while we're here now, do it. If you can make a donation, even if it's $1, do it. The talk about it is cheap. The doing and the acting is what we, the people, got to start doing together. We sit here in these echo chambers every freaking day, and it just chaps my hide, that there's nothing happening. And right now, Casey is doing something. I work with her every single day. Her and my wife and JC and everybody, and Marlon too. Marlon's been on the conversations. He has been putting his heart and soul into helping spread the word every day. Almost every day we talk about the ARA. But the fact that we have the founder, the person behind this whole movement here, let her see your action. Step it up.
Now, look, people did step up yesterday. There was 4 or 5 people that went and contributed yesterday, and I can't be more proud of our community doing that. So hey, we're not pointing the finger and said, hey, nobody's doing anything, because there are people there. So and we need the support going forward. When we start putting political pressure and cornering these people, they're going to get vicious. Okay, that's what happened. Guess what? Now they realize that they can't get vicious because the social media platform behind that community. Oh man, they can affect our money. They can affect our vote. So they are scared. So it's using it in our advantage.
And I did want to mention Tinfoil has worked his little fingers off, really helping us with websites and all the stuff that we're doing with the firewalls, everything. I mean, and he ain't getting paid. I'm not getting paid. No, nobody's getting paid here. We're not trying to do this for money. We're doing this for the damn health of ourselves, of our children, of our grandchildren. And like Miss Casey said, she's saying 10 years. I say about 3 years, quite frankly. If we don't do this, if the ARA doesn't succeed, that's it. That is all she wrote. And I told you yesterday, if you don't notice, the beef prices, what the big four are paying right now, are the highest they've ever been. And you think in your mind, wow, well, that's good for the rancher. They're going to finally make some money. No, what's happening is these ranchers are saying, taking the opportunity after decades of being screwed over with low balling to where they're all in debt and everything, that they're cashing out. They're not just cashing out this herd, they're cashing out the entire herd, selling off the ranch, and they're done. They're walking away from it. And that is so scary. This really is a national security issue. I'm sorry that I'm being so, in your face and blunt and speaking loudly, but God dang it, do you hear what we're saying to you? If you want to do something to save this country and stand up as we the people, this is a movement to get behind. I'm sorry, but God dang it.
Well, hey, and that's why we're here. So we have to cut through the people that have been obstructing. We have to build our wall and our defense, and what we're doing. And we're not asking for permission. I can tell you that. So, Tim, how you doing? Would you like to add in, and then we'll go to you, Reuben, and
Yeah, I sure would. Truth, don't apologize, please. People, everything we do in life is a choice. And if you're going to make a choice on what you're going to do to improve your life today, the first thing you do is improve your health. And if you don't have your physical health, you don't have your mental health. So please, what goes into your mouth is all about what the quality of your life is going to be from here on going forward. Now, real quickly, I won't go over my history again, but in much depth. But I went a different route. I got a wake up call, 2 decades ago, and I created my own local sourcing. My thing is this: you don't know what we're talking about here. You don't know. Well, let's put it this way: get to know your local ranchers, and the only way to get to know your local ranchers is to get off your couch and go visit and go become a part of that community. um, Go get to know your food source, and get to find out. Don't guess what feed they're using. Get on their farms, and don't buy food from anybody that you don't know what feed they're using. So here's my point. I've had 20 years to get my food supply chain together, and I'm not just buying from a local rancher. Well, he's 3.5 hours away in Wisconsin here, but I'm his partner. I've become a financial partner with him because he was, 18 years ago, he couldn't make it. This is 18 years ago, and he was being run out of the business. And we looked at each other. He also happens to be, by the way, my wife's cousin. And I looked at him and I said, Mike, what do you want to do? Because I don't want you in this if you don't want to be in it. He says, no, but I got to make a living for my family. So I went in with him, and let's make this right, and let's do it right. And he was doing that same thing. I forget who it was. I just can't. I'm sorry, I came in here a little late. But if somebody said they're going to go low ball on feed, they're going to try to make. Yeah, when you're just trying to make a living, and when you're up against the kind of things that the ranchers are up against these days, yeah, you're going to go for low ball this and low ball that, because that's economics. But if you're going to do it right, it's going to cost a few more, a little bit more. But we said no, let's do it right. So I went in with him on this, and we've, over the years, what's ended up happening in this area is that we've basically sort of formed an alliance of our own. I mean, uh, we have Mike's a beef rancher, but we've got the Amish farms up there that are doing the pigs and the chickens and the things like that, and we've all sort of come together because there's a common. We're all trying to do the same thing, which is raise clean, nutrient dense, food that I forget who it was. Was it Reba was talking about satiation? I have a problem saying that word, satiation, when you eat something that hours later that you don't, your body tells you, I don't need anything else. So get involved in this and get to know. Sending a check isn't I shouldn't say this. Sending a check isn't enough. Get yourself out to these places and get involved. I'm here to tell you, it's one way to develop more than just understanding why you should. This is not just a thing that you're going to get passionate about in 2026. This is something that you're going to do for the rest of your life, and this is something that um, there's a huge need and reason for doing this, and it's something that everybody needs to get. Oh boy, here my 2.5-year-olds are getting, my grandsons are busting out of the room. I'll wrap up. Um, just form this alliance, get to know the people, get the sources. And one more thing: Texas, 14 something a pound is not sustainable for a family. This year being 2026, I picked up all my 2026 meat from Mike and all the farmers up there over a couple of trips up north, in October, November. We looked at each other when we put the numbers together for what the cost was going to be per pound to all the customers. And we looked at each other and said, well, I guess the cost is going to go up this year per pound after processing to $5.20. And we looked at it and said, hey, that's the cost of quality product. $5.20, people. $5.20. And when that's everything. That's ground beef, that's ribeyes, that's everything. And by the way, you get to choose in processing, you get to choose what how many pounds of ground beef, what kind of cuts, that type of thing. That's sustainable. And when you look at that, and when it's nutrient dense, and when it's it satisfies you, and you're not buying the junk anymore, you're healthy. I'm here to tell you, I'm a spreadsheetaholic. I own my own business for 35 years. I'm a spreadsheetaholic. Yeah, I see you, Oliver. I'll come get you in a minute. When I'm a spreadsheetaholic, we eat like kings, and we spend a heck of a lot less than we used to before. Why? Because we don't buy the junk anymore. We only buy the quality product. And I'm here telling you, you will find the same thing. Invest. I use that word, invest in quality foods, invest in your health, and you will find that this investment will pay off in your mental health, in your spiritual health, and in the quality of your life in general. Thanks very much. I got to go chase some 2.5-year-olds. Thanks very much. I'll be hanging around and maybe contribute. Thank you, everybody.
Absolutely.
But do it today. Get off the couch and go do it. And I'll be on your website later, and I'll be contributing. I challenge everybody else to do the same thing. It's a small investment for a large return. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Tim. Well, guess what? Hey, what you're talking about right there, it reflects and echoes what everybody talks about in these spaces. They want to know how to take a chunk out of that corporate. Well, Tim, you just explained it how you can do that. Now, you're not only buying your beef through local farmers, you're not buying the junk on top of it that they're profiting from. So you've killed two birds with one stone at the end of the day, Tim, whether you realize it or not. That's why it's so easy to blend the talk and to make it interesting, because realistically, we're talking about the foundations here. Let's go to Reba, and then we'll go to Tin Tech.
I'm going to say this real quick. Even when you buy the say ground chuck from your grocery store, you buy what you think is 4 pounds. You cook it, and you end up with 2.5 pounds of meat. When you buy it from a butcher and it's real food, you got 4 pounds of meat, and maybe 10% of that, goes away when you're cooking it. But it is, and they have research that those junk foods that we're eating, they're putting stuff in there that cuts off the signal from your stomach to your brain that says, hey, I had enough. When you eat real protein, that signal continues. That's why you continue to be hungry eating all the junk. They're putting stuff in our food that stops that signal from going to your brain. When you're buying from a rancher and you're growing your own stuff, that chemical's not in there. You're going to feel 100% better. There is science that backs you are what you eat. And if you're going to eat, you're going to fill your stomach with junk, you're filling your brain with that same junk. There is research that says all the sugar that we intake, that dementia is like stage 3 diabetes. And cutting all the cholesterol, your brain is made from cholesterol. When you don't feed your brain, you get in big problems. And I will land there. I got to get going, but this is a great space. I'm glad it's recorded. I'm gonna come back and listen to it later. And thank you, American Rancher, for doing all you do. You rock.
You rock. The support rocks. So hey, for people to come in and join in the conversation, now we're getting the average view, right? Go ahead, Tin, and we'll go to Texas.
I just wanted to say, and I kind of want to add to what Truth was saying there. If you look at it from this point of view, if you want to take on a big conglomerate or a big corporation, rather, look from an IT point of view, it's like if I want to take over like Amazon, AWS, for example, I can't take them all myself. But if I have people who run data centers across the nation and they're willing to join my organization, then I have a better chance of taking on Amazon. But if we lose that data center, just like if we lose the ranch, you got to consider all that stuff that they sell off, we have to rebuild. So, in a data center, you have like the power, the network rack, the circuit that comes in, the servers themselves, the software, the licensing, all those elements that bring a data center together. Okay, now look at a ranch. You have the buildings, the water, the power, the fencing, the fence post, the bins to feed the animals, to feed themselves, all the other elements that bring that ranch together. If we lose a ranch, then we have to go back and rebuild that from the beginning. And if we start losing all these ranches, it's going to be harder to take on the big corporations because our backing becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. So that's why it's so important to back this organization. It's because we got all these ranches coming in together to help her now, and then we can push back against the bigger corporations a lot easier. But if we lose all these ranches, it's going to be a heck of a lot harder, and we might reach a point where we might not be able to overcome that. And so I definitely help however you can, because I know I'm going to. Because I'll be honest, I'm tired of eating bad food. Because like I told one person, that it seems like every time I eat this bad food, I'm desperately trying to run to the bathroom, and hopefully I'm not. Well, I'll just leave it there.
Not too late. But again, you're taking chunks out of those organizations and entities that we've been fighting in these spaces for 4 or 5 years, right? And most of us have been fighting this fight our entire lives. But now they're understanding, right? Hey, hey, talking about beef, yeah, it's not the sexiest thing, but when you realize that it's attacking our own foundation here, and that's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that, hey, this isn't vulnerable. It is vulnerable. We're showing you it's vulnerable. Go ahead, Texas.
Yeah, I don't have the minute. Jump back and install a meter. But Miss Casey, don't take what I said or truth or Marlene that I was not in what you're doing. I love what you're doing. Everybody here knows me very well, and I'm all about the little man, the small businesses, and the workers. So I love what you're doing. I mean, I support it 100%. Truth that at that price, I would buy it all day, every day, and I would never go to a grocery store. I can tell you that right now. Uh, and I feel your pain, Miss Casey, because let's go back, 4.5 years ago when we started the National Owner Operators Association, dealing with the fraud and the scams and the victimization of truckers in America. Uh, you know, and it was painful. The time that all of us devoted, the money that was put into the association, and I know people thought they was going to get rich. Of course, they didn't, but eventually the voices got loud enough where we got the change that we needed, and now we see it in everyday news. The deal with Super Ego, we can't compete with the corporations that's not even paying their drivers. I mean, we're at a point in trucking where we finally got where we needed to be, but it's painful. So I feel your pain 100%, and I hope this pans out for you and for us. It's not for you, it's for us. Um, but I don't want you to take what I said as a knock against what you're doing, because I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it, absolutely love it. And I'm for you 100%.
Thanks,
Well,
Texas. See, Marlon, my wife wanted to chime in since she doesn't have a dang profile. She wants to say something.
So I've been working on this project for a few months now, and I get the honor of talking to everybody. And I get to talk to the ranchers, the processors. I hear some heartbreaking stories of fourth, fifth generation operations being lost to economics because they've gotten squeezed out. But outside of the ranchers, the processors, they hold up communities. They hold up ways of life that once they're gone, they're gone. These are things that trucking is involved, supplying feed from feed to mechanics to, there is so many arms that this touches that is worth protecting at all costs, in my opinion. And that's all I wanted to share.
But you know what? People aren't inconvenienced. They can still go down to the supermarket and buy the beef that they've been peddling all the time. Now, when people realize and they actually taste the difference, they would be amazed. I'm telling you. Take a seamless eye roast out of Walmart. Take a T-bone out, and look at the difference in the color. It's two different types of meat. I feel like it's a different type of cow. It tastes weird. It has a weird texture to it. Just try it out yourself, and then go buy something that, hey, you know, right now it's going to cost you more. But if we had our way, that meat, the ARA meat coming out on those shelves, would be a comparable number. It goes back down to, hey, just us paying attention. And we don't need congressional approval here, right? This isn't something that, hey, I'm gonna ask the government whether or not I can start the average view. That's insane, right? That's where people are mistaken here. This is where we just gotta wake up and pay attention.
Hey, Ms. Casey had to drop for a second for a call from the attorney, but she's going to try to come right back in, just to give you an FYI regarding that. And she's so grateful and thankful that we're talking about this as extensively as we are, because it's an imperative thing that every factor of it, from our health to national security to, just all the people that this affects. And you've talked so much about truckers and whatnot. This all ties together, Marlon.
When I went to Matt's and I'm standing out there soliciting people going by, there was a third of them, and then Matt's is one of the biggest truck shows in the world, right? This was in Louisville, Kentucky. I went last year, and standing there and watching the people go by, it wasn't just truck drivers. It was farmers. It was mechanics. It was feed stewards. It was fuel stuff. Now, you have to remember, all of this is trickle-down economics, right? And if you attack one particular fashion, like they've been targeting the trucking forever, beat these guys down to where they can't even really maintain their vehicles, and they're not making enough money off of these loads due to corrupted data coming through, fictitious ways that they're putting these loads out, using other carriers, other brokers to double broker, triple broker these loads, and hiding it. Right? It's really the criminality. Once you take the criminality, I believe that's what's happening. Once you take the criminality out of our beef logistics, well, how long is it going to be where it starts attacking our poultry and pork? Right? If we just bury our head in the sand and don't support notions like this, well, then when people are put to the test, what if you went to the store and there was only one choice, not 4 or 5? There's only one choice now, and you're going to like it because that's what it's down to. You lobby for these big packers. Now let's back up a hair. Understand that the 4 big packers not only have cornered the market, they're working in collusion. Number 2 is, if you knew that those processors are the only ones that actually can get through all the processing, well, guess what? Now they're locked into them. Now you want to talk about a monopoly? Well, now you're even talking about ranchers that's raising their own cattle, raising their own feed, and now they're forced to use deep brokers because they can't sell it legally any other way, because the government has stepped in and put those guidelines there to protect the big 4. Where do you think all this lobbying money goes? What do you think it goes for? It's to set these little rules to keep the younger and smaller guy down. That's all it is. At the end of the day, if we get past the big 4 and it's not just, hey, not only these organizations, there's lots of organizations out there. But I don't think they have it down to the traceability where the ARA can actually tell you where that thing came from, where it was raised, where it was slaughtered, where it was packed, and how it was shipped.
And that's the uniqueness of this. with the application, being able to scan the package because our logo has the QR code on it, takes you to the website. You'll be able to enter in your batch number, which will be on the packaging, and you literally will see pictures, the video, the layout of all the things that were done with that animal, the feed, everything. And there's nothing like that on the market. You don't know where your damn apple came from. You don't know where your chicken came from. You don't know where your beef came. You just don't know unless you buy it directly from a rancher. So, Miss Casey, are you back now?
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I mean, with it, I mean, there's so many positives for both sides, like the rancher and the consumer both. So there's a lot of aspects to this that are not done that actually make it work. Um, just completely, two different sides, and it works for both, and it's beneficial for both, and it's something that we need.
Well, we're talking about financing. We're talking about problems with insurance firms, and this is where I think that the SBA should be stepping in and start promoting these problems that are out there, leaning on these committees and congressional hearings to be able to loosen up some of the red tape here. And I think we can do that as a community and using a social media platform to get that thing across and using illustrations to put those stories to them where they have to read.
And Marlon, just so people understand what Miss Casey has to go through and all the logistics and legalese bullshit that she's got to go through, she has to be bonded for millions of dollars, right? She has to have the corporate structure set in such a specific way so that legally she can do everything the right way according to all the damn standards that are set by the Fed and the states, like 50 states. There's so much crap she has to have put together, which none of us have those special skills. So, of course, you got to hire these people to do so. You know what I mean? So once she gets up and running, everything will be fine. But even to get up and running, she has to actually technically, the ARA has to take ownership of all of that cattle, of all the ranches across the country. You know how expensive that is? You know what? It's the start is the hardest part. Once it's started and getting going, we're good as gold. But I know Miss Casey can do that, but you got some hands that started to jump in there. And I know Dee Dee came up as well, who's been, touting and tooting about the whole thing as well. But Skinny's up here too. And then go ahead, Casey.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, let's and you know what? Look, and again, hey, Dee Dee, I know you just showed up, but I praised you because hey, you were the guy that came in and educated us and watched the evolution of this whole thing. Because of you, we're standing here talking to Casey today. So look, I know this is absolutely probably one of the most important things that we should be talking about. Let's go to Skinny. I haven't heard from him. We'll get a low out of Dee Dee.
More macaw. I am exceptionally tired today, so I shouldn't be speaking, but I'm gonna. Cause screw better judgment. Truth, my wife's got a profile. But she doesn't have a profile. You know what I mean? Anyhow, the only one that matters. I've been listening to you guys all morning. I offer you now a reading. 1979 was lit, people. I don't like instant iced tea. And I ain't crazy about $1 self-serve gasoline. They nearly broke me with the high price of beef. And the funny thing is, they think they're putting this over on me. I've always been an upstanding citizen, but I am getting fed up now, my friends. And if you don't understand what I've said, I'm tired of being Johnny Be Good, and I'm gonna be Johnny Reb. Brought to you by Mr. Bocephus, Hank Williams Jr. himself. And you guys talk about beef. Marlon, since you started this space, I've been advising people to save their money. What a perfect time to buy a quarter or a half a beef, folks. The most expensive beef in my town is at the low income grocery store. It's horrifically expensive for ground round. Your dollar cost average, I don't care. Your dollar cost average, if you buy a quarter beef, includes all the cuts in the quarter. You may pay 10, 11, 12 bucks a pound, but in the end, by the time you have some cheeseburgers, you're going to eat rich people's steaks for the same effing price. Less than 50% of what you would pay in the grocery store for a freaking $28 ribeye. That's garbage. You can't even chew those things up anymore. I know where my beef comes from. It's grown by my best friend's sister. We know exactly where it's coming from. But with what's happening here with Casey and everybody else, it's going to start happening. I see it happening more and more with everything. And Truth, you mentioned a badge number, whatever, ear tag, so people can actually figure out when that cow was born. Guess what tracks that kind of information? Oh, bro, crypto. That's exactly what it does. Just letting you know, guys. And once again, once we go to an asset backed economy, guess what? You can choose to invest in your local beef rancher, chicken farmer. I don't know why they're different. I think it should be a chicken rancher, but that'd be like herding cats. Either way, uh, it's refund season. Perhaps you could contact your local butcher or somebody else. We have multiple places to do it where I live. I guarantee there are some where you live. You just got to hunt them up. And I've noticed over the last decade locally that more and more of these family farms, they skip the billboards. They just hang a sign on the fence next to the highway. Local beef for sale. They put a phone number there. All you got to do is call them. It's very easy. Just give them 60 days plus or minus 30 days to fill. And let's go. Keep it local, keep it clean, unlike my mouse. Thanks for the mic.
Kenny, I know you're busy in the background, brother. I know you ain't been around so much, but they always got in mind.
Dude,
So,
two 14-hour shifts with 45 minutes of sleep in between. I shouldn't even be talking today. This is ridiculous. It's bad. It's one of those days where, like, even my balance is off. So, my feet are way ahead of my brain this morning. My mouth might be, but so far, still good.
brother, good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Well, even if you have the local butchers, take them that sheet and ask them about, transparency in their meat. Because even a lot of local butchers, they're getting it off the Cisco truck. It's and it stinks. It really does. But it's just kind of what they've had to do. Like it's not really anything against them. It's just their way to get the beef to them because that's the biggest distribution right now.
Someone needs to revive that Wendy's commercial. Instead of just where's the beef? They need
Right.
Where's the beef from? You need some old lady hollering about where's the beef from.
That's why I put it in the title, dude. Do you remember that? Where's the beef? Remember that, lady?
Dude, that's a commercial that every child these days should watch. Every episode they ever made of that is fantastic.
Well, it's funny. I'll talk to you later, Skinny, about that because we already went there. We already have a campaign thing, but we're not going to reveal it until it's done. But that's just funny. You would say that.
Well, I put it in the title. I don't know if you see it. I remember that lady like it was yesterday. Go ahead, my wings. What happened? You bump you down?
I don't know. It's ribs. I just want to say, Truth, Casey, you guys put that where should be coming and we that and spread the message that way.
Thanks, love. You're kind of breaking up, but I think I got the gist of it. Did you want to say hi to Dee Dee, and then you got another person, new person up, Frank, by the way?
How you doing, Dee Dee? Good to see you.
Hey, Marlon, Truth. Hey, sweetheart, how are you doing this morning? Stacy, you know who I'm talking to. You know, Marlon, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, how the beef industry and the trucking industry go hand in hand, and I see Texas is here. I mean, those animals have got to be put on a truck and taken from point A to point B. And from the cow-calf operator to the butcher, you got a 4-step process. And each time they change processes, they got to be put on a truck. And because they're going to go from one spot to another. But what we're worried about is complacency. And the American public is the only one that can do something about it. Now, just like I said yesterday, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. And I'm not here to blow smoke up anybody's butt. But if you're eating it out of the big box stores, you're eating pure crap. I got another word for it, but I'm being a little bit PG today. You're eating pure crap, you know. And besides that, I don't want Marlin on my butt. But anyway, you know, and you see the high prices on the shelf. You know, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what people are going to believe. If you think the rancher's making that money, you have lost your mind. It's like I said yesterday, 2 prominent cattle producers within 25 miles of me went out of business. Sold every cow they had, got out of it. So there's 2 right there that's gone and probably will never come back. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to take to wake people up to what's going on in the beef industry. There is evil forces out there working against us. There is more hoops to jump through. I mean, right now, Casey ought to be able to thread a sewing machine with it running. So, you know, I don't understand. You know, go to the website, see what you think, kick the tires, look at it. You know, there's the American 5 years, folks. The American rancher will be gone. Period. End of statement. Full stop. In 5 years, if we keep going the way we're going, the American rancher is going to be gone. Now, what is that going to do to the beef prices there? And I'll tell you what it's going to do. It's going to make those SOBs across the pond rich because they can raise them a whole hell of a lot cheaper than we can. We have no idea what they're putting in them or anything else, and they're exporting them over to the U.S. If I had my way, the Mexico border would never be open again, and I don't want it open until I find out that the American screwworm is completely eradicated in Mexico. And, you know, of course, you got people that's going to start crap. Somebody's pretending to be from the USDA said that there's already been screwworm detected in the U.S., and that's a lie, but it affected the market. So, you know, the prices are high as they have ever been, and the cattle numbers in the U.S. are the lowest they've ever been. So what does that tell you? You're going to be eating stuff from across the pond, be it Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, Australia, wherever. That's what you're going to be eating. Do y'all really want that? Do you want that crap that just comes on there? They repackage it, pump it full of chemicals, pump it full of water, and then throw it on a shelf? Is that what you want? Well, if that's what you want, then go for it. That's fine. But don't blame the American Rancher Association when you grow your third leg. So that's, I've listened to the folks, Marlon, and, I've listened to people whine why it's so high on the shelf. Why ranchers doing this? The ranchers aren't doing it. You got one company owned by Brazil, you got two companies owned by China. There you go. Your money's going across the pond. So, we're going to get the ARA started one way or the other. So it may take somebody mortgaging a house to do whatever. I don't know. But and like you said, Marlon, I've never come on any space and asked for money. But if you go to the ARA website, go arabeef.com, look at the sponsorships, give what you can to get this started, be a founding member, do whatever you got to do. But the fate of the American ranchers on the American consumer, that's about as plain as I can put it. So for that right there, congratulations, sweetheart, on being a new grandma. And I'm going to put my cows in the pen right there, Marlon.
Well, thanks, Edie. Once people realize, they just listen a little longer. Let's go to Frank. Frank, how you doing? Welcome up. What do you got to share?
Yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. It's always a pleasure to listen to the Heartland speaking. But I tend to wax kind of eloquent and lengthy at times. So I'm going to try to put together what I've been hearing this morning very succinctly. So we have some major foundational premises here. One, this American cultural imperative, i.e., the farmers and the ranchers, that's the foundation. That's an American event. It's something that has been precipitated by our ancestors going back, all the way to Europe and then to the United States. Okay, so with that said, this talk of vertical integration and national security is obviously the most paramount concern, at least for me. Vertical integration is kind of a word it's been repackaged, but our ancestors all grew as a cultural norm to feed each other all across the country. Everything that we did was fundamentally from the earth up, and the earth up was managed by human beings, by our ancestors. That's called vertical integration. Now, with that being said, I'm also listening to the young lady that's got the ARA, and that's all well and good, right? But we are also under assault by very, very big powers that be within our own country. And that takes me off into another subject. So I'll just kind of belay that for the moment. When we're talking about local infrastructure, one thing that I've been kind of hearing intuitively through a lot of your conversations about funding and so on and so forth. And by the way, guys, I'm not a farmer or a rancher, but I've been raised and grew up around these people my entire life. So let's go back to the 70s when the United States of America, with programs like NAFTA and all of these, and they represent foreign interests, right? NAFTA and all this, right? They betrayed our country, betrayed our people. And at some point, the government started to make moves onto the farming culture, the ranchers. There was a lot of, kinetic energy back in the 70s and 80s where farmers were killed. A lot of our people lost hundreds of thousands of acres of property through litigious warfare, which was the preliminary salvo by these foreign interests and these traders in Washington who actually betrayed the land owning Americans. And in my mind, everything comes back to the land ownership of our American people versus the world. Remember back in the day, guys, every news broadcast was like, well, America feeds the world. You know, we literally fed the world for 50 or 100 years, okay, through exports and so on. We didn't actually bring anything in. We sent everything out. Okay, so we know all that. So what's Frank getting at? Frank is getting at, if you want to itemize the procedural steps, is that a lot of you local guys need to start talking to the wealthy citizens of your townships. And believe me, even to this day, even though we're being marginalized, we still have men and women who have money in these small townships. Now, I'm hearing you guys talk about raising capital and all that, and that is the appropriate move, right? But you guys need to name and shame some of these local people, neighbors that you've got in your area. I've done this myself personally. And you need to go to some of these wealthy people. And I'm talking to some of the men here who have some experience in negotiating. Maybe there's some military officers in here, retired military officers or whatever, who understand leadership. But you've got to actually go to some of these wealthy people and just, over coffee or whatever, and let these guys know, look, Jim, I need 100,000 or I need 500,000. Don't be afraid to ask these guys for money. If he wants a piece of the action, okay, you can negotiate terms, right? But forget banks. Well, unless you're like really local and some of the bankers are actually local people, right? But some of these wealthy people can mitigate some of this damage. But then you run into the trucker interests. Right now, our people are being removed from the land and from a means of supporting their family by driving logistical haulers. Okay, we all know this. Every single person in this space knows that. Okay, and so it's hard when the government is actually forcing non-native personnel to drive trucks. You guys know all the story. You see it every freaking day, causing accidents and all this. And they claim that it's because they can pay them cheaper. What it's doing is removing you and I, our children and our grandchildren from, growing up and choosing a career, first local, then regional, and then perhaps national, to become a truck driver or own a trucking company. Like I said, I can tend to get really windy about this stuff because this whole subject's very, very dear to me. But if you talk to these local guys who have money, it might only start out affecting a 15 to 50 square mile area. But if all of us start considering ourselves the point man in this war that we are facing, because that's what we went through in the 70s and 80s. We literally went through a national war, and there were casualties, and the government, it was a push and pull, and we kind of stopped them for 30, 35 plus years. We're facing the exact same thing today, except on steroids. Now, there are a few government people, maybe Thomas Massey is that guy, or I don't know much about this, what's her name, Brooks or Brookings, this new Secretary of Agriculture, whatever. But I know 100 farmers in my life that I would rather they run the agricultural department than any person who just came like out of the college venue, right? Or somebody who was raised by a farmer but never really farmed. But we got plenty of farmers that can straighten this stuff out. Okay, so it's not you.
Frank,
Yeah.
hold on. Let me. Well, number one, welcome to the community. Are you sure you haven't been in here listening? Because those subjects that you just went over, we've expanded and tore those subjects apart. I've been myself lobbying in Washington to the FMCSA and how they have that logistics end that's captured by data. Knowing that the brokers have these guys, they know where they were, they know where they are, they know where they're going, and if you can manipulate rates to that, well, then, man, you got the horse beat, right? So it sounds like some of the ideas, some of the things we've gone over many, many times. So no, I think you go together with the space like peanut butter and jelly, Frank.
Well, I'm literally just an old school American, and I was raised in Southern California, but I was raised around mega farms and ranches and orchard growers and all that. I went to school with their kids when they had to harvest. Most of these kids, I'm talking about the kids of the owners, were harvesting with their parents. I was raised around that, bandy camps, all the great big bakeries and whatnot. And I saw them get put out of business. That's more or less what kind of radicalized me when I was a young man. And as I got older, I started talking to all of these old farmers. And these guys knew how to fix everything. They knew about proper crop rotation. All the beef growers were just solid American, men and women, right? So I guess I cut my teeth on the old anecdotal stories of our ancestors, right? And so when the 80s came along, I was actually pretty deep off into the trucker plight, the farmers. Farm aid was created because a lot of us in the Northwest, California, we went to the government and said, you know what? Screw you. You cannot come onto our property and demand that we tag all of our cattle and all of that. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But you guys are faced with the exact same thing, and you cannot get much return from government as such today. It's going to live or die at the local level. And so when I heard about this ARA and all that, I don't know much about it. I'm going to check it out. I think I'm following that young lady, but anyway, all I wanted to say, and I'll just shut this down and just say I support everybody in here because you represent really the better part of America, the culture of America, the people of America. And so you got a friend here, and I just encourage everybody to look at their local townships. If you need money, there is money in your town. There are individuals that represent wealth. Go to them and prepare, a synoptic discussion for these people. Let them know. And if you cannot appeal to their patriotism or to their sense of culture, hey, no problem. Kick that dude to the curb and go to somebody else because GoFundMe is, it's okay. And some people are willing to do it, but it's money, not one time, but dozens and hundreds of times that we need. Or we need somebody who is already established with wealth, who can see 30, 40 years down the road. And of course, these guys, if they're going to put in $500,000 or $1 million or whatever it is, they're going to want a little return. So try to keep the lawyers out as much as possible, because I was raised by people who negotiated all contracts between two people, two owners, a landowner and a capital owner. Okay, so I know it can still be done, right? But anyway, guys, thanks for the mic, Marlon, and good luck to everybody in here.
Well, Frank, I gave you a follow, and hey, man, just keep up with the stories because they're coming. And look, we know as a community, watching the evolution of all of this, watching our pork and our poultry get absorbed. When is that infection going to start affecting them? Right? When people start asking where their chicken and pork come from now, well, I know where that came from. Let's start with the beef. Let's get her some notoriety that it deserves. The project deserves it. So we just need to lean on our, like you said, our local, come up with a comprehensive discussion about it. And yeah, you need to have somebody that can see into the future and is a visionary American. That's exactly what we need. So thanks, Frank. Welcome to the community.
Yeah, and I agree with what he said. Like there is really no help in the government side at all. Even farm credit that was built to help the farmers, it is all being used by foreign entities now, which is insane. We are paying taxes for this farm credit for our farmers in the United States, and it's being used for overseas entities to buy land for farming in the United States. That's so it's jacked up. Everything is. I mean, they're against us. They're not for us. This is literally the American people standing against our government. This is basically what this movement is because they're not. It's just been against us for so long, and that's where we're at, where we are right now. And it's all about foreign interests and their shareholders and just their money. That's what it's about.
You know, Casey, it's easy for me to understand this, right? I've been affected by immigration my entire career. And now it's down to the point where now the immigrants are now fighting for their own job. Okay. So the DACA and the Dreamers, they're fighting for their problems and their fight for their work now because they are now fighting immigration problems. You know, in the state of New Jersey, I've had a business here for 25 years. I've paid my taxes. I've done the good thing that an American's supposed to do. But, you know, in this particular state, I can't even submit a contract for a state-run job. I have to be either a minority company. I'm not the right skin color. The advantages for the foreign entities in our country is way outseed our advantages. Why are we giving these advantages to our own kids and looking outside and saying, "Oh man, hey, we have immigration. How do you think we're going to get the work done?" Isn't that half the problem? Now, you know, Frank, you came in, you hear us talking about that, but you know, a lot of the other times we're talking about reinstituting the labor gap that's missing in this country. There is a need for skilled kids to come along. Now, I have to tell you, this is where I've had my interaction with the SBA, sitting in the roundtables and having them understand that the labor gap is an immigration problem. Now we see the Trump administration coming through and talking about English proficiency. These guys are being ripped out of the truck, right? This corporate entity has been using these loopholes inside of our legislators and really just giving them an unlimited amount of labor. Wow, how you know, and beating the number down as they go, right? We've talked about law firms that really have been crafting policy that helps the immigrant population and guaranteeing these guys state status so that they can get it, fast track. You know, like all of these problems. And Frank, I'm going to go to you because you threw your hand up. You know, these are the types of problems and the influences that this community has done. So that's why we're taking it upon ourselves to get the ARA out there, because this is just a job promoting narrative, an American job producing company, right? Okay, Frank.
Yeah, man. I'll hold off for the next discussion because I have an awful lot to say about what you just presented, and you are 100% spot on. Can I suggest that Marlon or American Rancher or some of you regulars, I would suggest that you put the word out to Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe is a pretty fascinating personality as far as I'm concerned. I've been following him now for like 30 plus years, right? He's just an interesting guy. And he's gotten pretty much connected with some very, very interesting and I believe very pro-American people. But point being is that this conversation about education, about our youth, look, guys, most of us heritage Americans are aging out. And these people, these big business people, they can use all this BS to try to camouflage what their real agenda is, and that is complete control of our land, centralization of our land. That's communism. You guys know what I'm saying there. But Mike Rowe talks a lot about the youth from, like, let's say 5th or 6th grade and up, like probably a lot of us do at home over dinner, right? And Mike Rowe would be an interesting voice to just listen to for a couple of hours. We could kind of put some feedback, back and forth to each other. And then perhaps, because Thomas Massey follows me and I follow him, but I've I've sent him 2 DMs over the years, and he's, the guy's a busy dude, but I would like to have someone like a Thomas Massey or anybody else that you guys know, and a Mike Rowe. And don't think that we can't do it. Some of these big guys will be more than happy to come to one of these spaces, just because they have the heart to do so. They're not going to make any money out of it. But I will reach out to Thomas Massey, actually, and if you don't mind, Marlon, I'll just drop Dora Beef or whatever. I guess that's American Rancher, and let's just see if we can't get one or both of them to come in and just give us a couple of hours. That's at least a start, because X does have a pretty wide girth of listeners. And if we can just keep formulating these types of discussions, one or two of us are probably going to get noticed by some of these guys. And if that puts you in a position to get network, then I think we've all done our job. So thanks a lot, Mona.
Well, just one thing that you guys kind of both brushed over is the education part. So, there's lots of 4-H clubs out there, all the ag stuff that they're teaching in schools and whatnot. But unfortunately, they're brainwashing and teaching them to be used to using certain fertilizers and all this kind of crap to benefit the system, to make that the norm for them. So they think, oh yeah, well, of course we do it this way. Of course we use this, hormone or whatever the hell it is. So we can't forget that part of it, that we have to take back over the miseducation of our youth so that they know that that's not the norm. They know that that's bad, that they're changing it, going, no, 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 no. We don't have to do it this way. We can do it this way because it's the way it was done thousands of years before all this crap started coming into our society. You know what I mean?
Well, more on the education and really like the heart behind some of the ranchers behind this. Like we have one of our producers, um, he's a decent sized farm out in Arkansas, and he's building a plant, and he's already done everything. He's getting ready to build the plant, but his main focus on the income from that plant is to start an education for the kids in his community for processing and building jobs for his community. And he has a lot of backing in his community for that, but he is strictly there for the kids. And the only thing that he talks to me about every time is how can we use the ARA's nonprofit to get stuff to women and children that don't have food and things like that. So we're working on that on the sidelines. But I mean, that's just the heart behind a lot of these ranchers in this organization together.
And it's interesting, that the ranchers aren't in this for the money. They need to make money to survive, but nobody that I've talked to in any one of these ranches all across the country have said anything about money except that they're in debt. They're like, look, I'm not trying to become a millionaire or nothing. I just love doing what I do. And as long as I can sustain, I'm going to keep doing it. But they can't. They've been forced out of this.
They want to pass it down to their kids. That's another one. They have kids that are at the age, and they want to make sure that their kids are taken care of. They want them to have something that is stable and income producing so they can survive. They're not out there looking to become rich on it, and they're not going to. They're ranchers. It's not going to happen. It's not part of the game. It's not part of the lifestyle.
So, it leads me to the same thing, right? Let's look at a quick example, and then it bleeds right back into the education of it, right? When I first came onto this app, I was screaming about the East Coast wind and how bad it was against my environment. I could have been screaming till I was blue in the face, down on the beach, and nobody would have listened. That's why I decided to come to X, is because I just couldn't take it anymore. I'm watching people that were being influenced by money, boards, Republican boards that were influenced and politically positioned to vote for these things, right? So when you go and you break down and look at Rutgers, I'm going to take Rutgers as an example. This particular company, this Orsted, had come in and coerced their way into these educational systems. And I'm talking about Rowan University, I'm talking about Rutgers, and basically what it was this company went in and paid these professors to keep going with the East Coast wind and plucking at the heartstrings of saving our environment and using this wind production as a way to save the planet, right? But when you really broke it down and you understood that all they did was coerce our educational institutions like Rutgers and like Rowan and bank everything on this green energy process. They crafted legislation. They gave all the power to the New Jersey Utility Authority, and they gave them eminent domain to be able to go and pluck these particular projects out and the properties that go along with them. And then what they did was they took it and they politically smeared them if they didn't vote for these projects. But underneath of all of it, they're not giving the kids the foundational that they really needed about the East Coast wind and how bad it really is for our environment. And all the companies that had to tag along with them to be able to make this thing prosperous and meet the Biden administration here efficiency, right? And there's a total black smoke behind it. But what the example is that they use their money to go into our educational systems to pound into these kids' heads that this was the only way to go. Oh, burning coal and burning diesel and all this is bad, bad, bad. We only can work on green energy products when we know it's a loser. They didn't give them the foundations and the environmental impact. They didn't give them the information and the environmental impact report that they manipulated. So look at the education that the kids are getting about the East Coast wind. Oh, this thing's great. But it didn't show them the end product, right? Didn't show them that by the time that's constructing the East Coast wind, the North Atlantic right whale may be extinct at a cost. That's what they're not telling these kids. So why are we, looking at these educational institutions as God? Trump administration is all over these people. What do you think Columbia University, Harvard, why do you think they're battling it? Because they know that Trump is going to pull the funding because they're not giving these kids the right education to come out and deal with this world. Now I look at the ARA, same kind of thing. There's going to be people out there, working against education. They're going to be using educational systems, and they have this thing wired. I think that's more of what we're battling as far as educating our youth. At the end of the day, we need to get the right story out and the foundational pieces that they can make a confident decision. If they're making competent decisions on bad information or bad evidence, that's called embedding, right? That's what that's called. And that's a CIA op at the end of the day. So look at how bad it's for. Bad truth.
So speaking about embedding, less than half of you listening here have actually liked or even shared this space. And for those of you who have, thank you. I would ask that people go and do that. We need to get this out there. And when you do, maybe do a quote post and start tagging people that you think need to hear this. And, I just reposted myself and quote posted and I tagged in, Donald Trump and Kennedy and Elon. Please help us do that so that this gets out so people can listen to it. If they're not here live, they will see it on their timeline. So please do us a favor and get this out there.
I might go a little conspiracy theory on you guys, but I don't think it's a conspiracy theory at all. But look at all the money that they put into that fake food, that bioengineered food, and lost their butts. Sorry, Marlon, on it, and they lost their butts on it, and then. But they have all this money that's tied into it now, and you're seeing all this bioengineered food put in to your food. And then they're running out the American ranchers. That's what they want. You wouldn't eat it yourself, so now they're gonna make you. They're gonna make you eat it. And that's how I see this playing out from the back end.
That's a fact, Jack.
I don't know what happened to Marlene. Probably had something going on.
I'm here.
Okay.
Well, hey, so wait. So now, hey, we've talked about some of the problems inside of the beef industry. How are we going to refortify our weapons? How are we going to learn to politically position these people? Just like the Dems have done on the other side, right? The way that they do it is just like the East Coast Wind. If they didn't go in and vote for this, well, then they politically smeared them, saying, look at Representative Gardner. He's not voting for the constituents. He's not talking about the tax revenue that could be generated and all of the story behind it. This is what they've done. They're very good at politically positioning even our Republicans. And now when you realize, like, the state of New Jersey is 54-27 in my state legislature, what chance do I have in going and changing those deeds? Right? My entire administration here in New Jersey is leftist, have ushered in Marxism, socialism, and communism. They voted her in. That's what she is. She's a communist up there at the helm of New Jersey. So if we don't come up with some other ways to be able to successfully fight back, and this is one of them, Kate, is using the X platform in trying to get this information out there, and then using publications like the Average View to go and attack them locally. Once you start attacking them locally, you're attacking their money and you're attacking their vote. So damn, we better start coming up with ways to do this because we can't outspend them. Hey, Tim, you want to add, and then we'll go to Texas, and then we'll get some last.
Yeah, to help get the message out about the ARA even more, I see Raging Rago down in the audience. Rigo, you need to talk to Casey, dude. She's got a lot to say and a lot about the American Rancher Alliance, and dude, it's a cool alliance, and yeah, you definitely need to talk to her.
Well, that's the better part about the community, right? We can take these messages to these other communities. They're working along with it. We're dumb if we don't. And I don't care who says what about me and what space I'm going in. You know what? It's only, strengthening our tentacles out there in these other communities. And that's what we need to do. We can't be the only community talking about it. So when you start putting it on the line, you start plucking at their heartstrings, you start plucking and explaining how fragile this really is, well then, man, there's no excuse for you not to jump on board with the ARA, American X Live, the Average View. These are all things that are going to be working in unison to be able to, hey, politically position these other people, regardless of whether they're Democrats, Independents, or Republicans. Go ahead, Texas.
Yeah, Marlon, let's go back some years ago, brother, and let's talk about it. So when we was sitting here on American X, back then, hell, even it was the Afterground. Let's go back to the beginning, and when we got involved in the advocacy trucking, everybody said, "Oh, one of the main guys, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, I don't like social media. You ain't doing nothing on social media besides getting up there screaming your head off. You ain't doing nothing. You ain't making no impact." But in the end, where did the impact come from, Marlon? Where did it all wind up? And it winded up with the Secretary of the DOT and all the FMCSA calling out what we was doing on X of the reason why they actually started acting and looking into the things that we've discovered. So don't tell me that this ain't impactful, because it damn sure is.
Well, you know what, Texas? I appreciate that. And guess what, brother? I'm not looking for the pat on my back. I don't need somebody to show me the way. There's not a letdown for me. I'm fighting my own path. I've been fighting my own path since the very beginning, and ever since I started my own business. So I know exactly. They don't. Put it to you this way, Texas. They don't want to give you that clout that you made the difference. Okay, but I can tell you right now, 4 years ago there was nobody talking transparency and purpose. 4 years ago there was nobody talking about the East Coast Wind. And guess what? both of those things are in mainstream media now, aren't they? You know, the windmill thing that's being crushed right before our eyes. So, but you know, it's not to say in 3.5 years when the Trump administration walks out of there and somebody else comes into power that's not going to be fired right back up. These are things that we're fighting that we're going to have to learn how to protect. That's the other part to this equation. We may have the problem, we may have the debate, we may have the solution protected after these particular entities get out of office, and then you got your real weight of your government on you. I don't know. I'm hopeful for the future.
Well, Marlon, let's face it. So if things swing back left, I mean, with the impact that the X platform has had on the election and the different things, all the different things, you can look for the left to fucking try to shut Elon. Oh, I'm sorry. Apologize, y'all. My bad. But you can look for the left to try to shut X down and Elon Musk and X and these platforms that have started loosening up the suppression and oppression. You can look for them to try to shut it back down because it's had too big of an impact in the country, in the world.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
I'm with you. All right, Truth. We'll let Frank get a couple last find this thing. You know, I'm sure that this is not going to stop. Right, we got a lot of work.
Yeah, you're just FYI, when you're kind of going back and forth from your pods or whatever you're using, it's kind of switching on and off. Just an FYI. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, I got to bow out, everybody, but it's been a pleasure. I just sent a note to Thomas Massey. I can't expect any response, but I did put it out there. If anybody is following and being followed by Mike Rowe, anybody that you guys know, I mean, it could be an old farmer, you know, for 50, 60 years. This guy knows what he's talking about. Start asking people to visit the space and give them a forum for an hour or 2 hours, because ultimately these kind of stories affect the audience much more than it does the speakers. To hear people discuss these issues, and I did repost the space, and you guys have a good day, and I will see you next time.
Well, thanks, Frank. If you didn't know, we do this every morning, Monday through Friday, starting at 9-ish a.m. Eastern till about noon-ish. So, yeah, Marlon always hosts a space. If he's unavailable or in a crappy area, then myself or some other regulars here will take his place. So we're always here. And Miss Casey, I know you got a terrible amount of stuff to be doing, as much as I'm doing right now in the background. Um, uh, I know Marlon wants to kind of wind this down. Is there anything that you want to emphasize on?
I'm sorry, I stepped away for a second. Um, no, I mean it's just a great group of people, and there's just so many ways that you can help us. Just getting us out there is a huge one. Any way you can help us, because right now we are so close to taking back the American beef supply. I mean, it's literally like it's, you almost touch it. It's we're literally right there. And I'm like, oh, and I sit there and I'm call Truth and his wife, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I'm so overwhelmed right now. Like I was like, we're so close and so far away at the same time. I was like, we have to get over this hump. So we need the American people. Oh, please, whatever you can do to get it out there. Um, demand transparency, whatever you can do. We really could use your help, and we will be there. We are trying to get beef into the grocery stores by third quarter, if not sooner. So we are so close.
And then just to remind people too, really quick on the website, Marlon, there's a join. You can join. You know, you go to the join page, tells you a little bit about it, and you click on join. There's a form. You fill it out. So yes, we're asking ranchers to be a part of this, but we're also asking for truckers. We're asking for the retailers. We're asking for all kinds of everybody. So sign up. Just please sign up. If you're a trucker and you've got the ability to do that, you have your own, company, sign up. We need you. We need all parts of this whole process here. It's not just ranchers. It's a whole slew of people that make this happen. Right. So please join us. And then I see Take Back came back up here. Sorry.
Take Back, give you the last moment here.
Thanks, Marlon. Another great space. Two things. I'm a business broker. I just purchased a list of businesses in the Philadelphia metro area. 3,000. I have the names, phone numbers, and email addresses of these businesses. 3,000 of them in the Philadelphia metro area, and we do a lot of restaurants and other convenience stores and all kinds of businesses. We're not specifically in one industry. We do them all. And secondly, I purchased a book of legislative register for New Jersey. Between 1845 and 1920, the legislature in New Jersey met for weeks, not months, not years. They passed like 100 bills. It wasn't the 1,000 that they put up now. Our legislatures have taken over every aspect of our lives, but they're only supposed to be there like 18 weeks, 9 weeks of the year doing the people's business. So we have to get back to the republic. And when I say restore the republic, that's what I mean. Go back to those days when the people were important, not the government. I yield.
Asking for permission. I'm telling you, the last time we heard it, somebody was there. Oh, did you not ask permission? Dad, love my wings, and I'm sorry for the hassle up and down. But thank you for coming up and co-hosting today.
All love, my friend. Don't worry about it. I just want to say really quick, in the time that we have had this space, set up 3 meetings next week with small ranchers in my community that want to hear what's going on with the American Ranchers Association. I have also reached out to a small company that brings food to restaurants and stuff like that in Michigan here. So they pride themselves on best quality. And I'm going to be talking to one of their salespeople that I know through the restaurant community. I've also reached out to two small restaurant owners that I love these people that are all about the quality of the food, and they're allowing me to bring in some flyers to be placed on the doors in different areas about the American Rancher Association. Why is that a big deal? Because these restaurants, they're the small diners where all your little old men congregate for their morning coffee. In my area, there's farmers and a couple of ranchers, so I'm able to get that information out to them. So when I see them, I'll be able to talk to them and answer more questions. Guys, there's stuff that we can all do. Think outside of the box. If you can't donate monetarily, print up a couple of flyers and post them around town with the businesses. Okay, that's all I wanted to add. Thanks, Marlon Truth. Casey, girl, let me tell you, the world needs more of you. We appreciate so much all the sacrifice and all the hard work that you and your crew have been putting out. I am constantly sharing all of your new videos, your shorts that are out on Facebook. I'm starting to get people that are reaching out to me through Messenger on Facebook. So you are making an impact. It's just not as big and not as fast as we all want. Love you guys. Thank you, Marlon, for putting up with me today. I appreciate you.
Thanks for coming in, little.
Remind people that on the website, on the home page, when you scroll down just a little bit underneath where you would put the batch number and all that kind of stuff, the title, it says Take Action Now, and there's a little button below that says Download PDF. And so we put together this PDF for you to be able to download and print out yourself and take it to your local grocery store and tell them what you want.
Yeah, Casey, jump in there. Maybe she's behind the scenes a little bit here, but hey, those links are in there. There are ways that you can step out of the box and help. And I think there's going to be a lot of things that hey, we need some people to really come in and support all little salt of the earth projects here. So we're laying it down. We're feeding you. I don't want to have to force feed. We're not food. No.
Sorry, my hands were all nasty. I was had my hands in the dishes during the couldn't hit my phone. No, thank you so much, love. I guess she's off there. No, there she is. Okay. Yeah, no, thank you so much. Everything really helps. And we're gonna make some other things like you're talking about. We can send those over to you for ranchers or just like an overview of the ARA, which would be great to put places like that. But we'll absolutely do that. And thank you so, so much.
And I do want to thank, I won't out anybody, but we've been monitoring, watching while we're doing this. Anybody who's making contributions directly to the ARA, and a couple of you really stepped it up. So thank you for your contributions. They all make a difference. Every dollar counts.
Oh, hey, thank you all for coming in. Texas, I'd like to drag you into the story here and see how closely related the logistics here are. Maybe we could do a pick live. I don't have confidence yet, but maybe we could do something along those lines. Bring Casey in for a couple minutes and we'll talk about it on TikTok. Work it out for timing for you. I would say again, for starting the notion, some help, and you got to know that I don't ask for much, so I'm more than proud to have her here. Looking to make a difference. So I appreciate everybody that showed up, and came in and contributed. Okay, true.
Marlon, I just want to again tell people how grateful on behalf of myself, and I know Casey will say the same thing. How grateful we are that you dedicated an entire day, an entire space to talking about this real issue. It does mean a lot. It does make a difference. So thank you, Marlon, for doing this today.
Well, thanks for coming in and entrusting enough to say, hey, let's confide in these guys. Let's make a relationship, and now we're gonna start putting together.
And just so people know, I've met with Casey, me, my son, my dog. We met with Casey face to face with key, people in this group. Had a great time. We all had lunch, and we went and saw one of the facilities, facilities that's a $107 million facility. It was unbelievable. They walked us through step their whole organization, let us go right through where they actually do all the work and the butchering and the whole nine. It was unbelievable to see. But these are real people, and I know sometimes people get lost in who to trust and who to some adding your friends and bots and all that crap. These are real people, real American people. And Casey is much prettier in person, by the way. She looks in her videos, but she's just got a heart of gold. We've become dear friends. We talk to her every day. you know, I'm sure she's tired of us, but it's just awesome. They're good, fearing, amazing people, and uh, I hope that everybody gets the chance to meet some of these ranchers all face to face.
Could you imagine going into your local shopping store and you see the ARA up there, and you're in the space listening to when it first devised and it comes pushed in? Could you see it? Wait, what?
So we're hoping, as Casey said, if all goes well and people step it up and everything, will be in the next quarter. It's going to be in the grocery stores. And be the logo, the website logo. That's our logo. That's the QR code. That is going to be on the packaging. You'll be able to recognize this right off the bat. You know, when you scan the QR code, you go to the website, you type in the customer that will be on the packaging. You're going to see the life of that animal. You're going to be able to know where that came from, what farm it actually came. That's pretty freaking cool. You know what I mean? And then you'll get a different batch because there's lots of farmers. So then I see how people are going to be like it from this ranch. These cows taste good. You know, it just depends on what's going on.
Can you get the can you get it? What if you had the opportunity to pick them? You know,
Right?
What's cool about it is rancher information is on that package too. So if they do direct consumers, you can buy a shaker from them if you really like beef, which is cool. Gives them extra business outside of just the supply. So it's nice for both ends. Like I said, there's so many benefits for both sides. It's pretty nice.
just got to get that through American head, right?
Yeah. I see.
Cow, cow. The quickly about stuff, and I appreciate everybody came in and gave us a today, and everybody is making some kind of difference here. So let's just keep going with the notion. Hey, when we need help, we need to reach out. Do a bad job again. So I really appreciate coming in and trusting the neighborhood today.
Yes, he was talking to you.
We got this over here.
No, she put it dropped down is what happened.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, let's say something real quick. Okay, but you kind of discussion today, man, don't you like that? So quick here,
Yeah, good on you guys for getting our ranch up and to the local. Not sure if you there's an initiative petition, IP 28, that will ban all hunting and fishing, any cruelty to animals. In essence, eliminate ranching, rodeos, um, um, neutering your animal, your pet. There will be crappy rats. Um, it affects every rancher in the state of Oregon. So
Coming back and join us. We do this. And see how like Marlon, when you ever say you're shutting down, then
do because it's going to be and bad against it. That's clear. Yeah,
It's very, very crazy. You know, it's a thing so that you know, getting that, you know, one gets that it tastes different. So I mean, Casey, getting back up, I'm sure she has awards, but I
It's crazy talk at the end of the day. Mama, would you like to add something quick?
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you to check your text messages. That's all. Hey everyone, how's everybody doing today? Happy Thursday. And that would be it, Mr. Marlin. I will talk to you later. Thanks, guys.
And finally, Marlon, we have over 150 people here with only a third of them actually liking and sharing. Again, last minute thing, please, for the love of God, just go and do that. It doesn't take but a second, you know, like, reshare, quote, post, whatever. You have to get this out there. This is important. This is really our national security. I mean, you know, come on, please.
Yeah,
So
I
at
want
the
to
end
thank.
Okay, Casey.
Oh, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming on here and listening about what we've got going on. I really, truly appreciate it. And I know it reaches the heart of a lot of people, and it really is dire need, national security. It is a huge issue, and it needs to be put out there more than I can on social media. Like, I have pretty good following at this point, but it's it needs to get out so much further than anything I can do. So I could use your help with any outreach. But thank you guys so much for listening to what we had to say and what we're building.
Well, thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it, Casey. And again, this has been our entire MO since the very beginning. We've been here to help people create communities, create networks to be able to push this past the media membrane that we've been fighting our entire time on this app. Now we just got to hone our swords a little bit differently, and we're gonna start bringing some of these things to light. So, amen. I appreciate everybody that came in and contributed today. Thank you for coming up. Love my wings. American Ranchers Alliance, Truth. Appreciate the help with the co-host. Have a great rest of the day. God bless America. We'll see you tomorrow.